Hello and welcome to what is coming next for you for this new moon. Now, this reading and pick a card reading is basically going to be uh, all about what could be coming for you in any new moon. So, this is a timeless reading. You can watch this during any new moon or any upcoming new moon to kind of get a little sense of what could be for you. I added an extra uh, set of picking here. So now there are four options, and I'm just gonna start with the stones here because I really want to pull like an oracle card, but I'm getting the sense that we're gonna wait to do that once we actually get to each of the readings. I didn't mind doing the cards on top before. I think I may like switch it around, change up the vibe, just so there's something new anytime I'm doing these videos. But let's get into some of your options here. To explain what the tarot decks are, we have the Star Tarot, the I think what is it? Tarot of the Divine. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I completely forgot. I have the box somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's Tarot of the Divine. It has a bunch of like folklore ties to it and a lot of mythos stories. We have the Runic Tarot, which is very Nordic themed. Um, and the manga tarot here. The manga tarot and the star tarot you're probably going to see a lot of because they're new to my collection and to just me working with them. So I like to work with the new decks a lot, get them kind of in the cycle of things. And then we're going to switch around from all of the tarot decks that are listed on my website. The only tarot decks that are not listed on the deck list on my website are these two, and that is completely fine because I can't list every single deck on there all the time. So when I get new ones, I have to find time to get pictures of them and do that whole thing. And adulting kind of makes it easily forgotten. But speaking of my website, this is a little update just for anyone watching. If you are subscribed to my Twitch, you can actually get any 3-card or 6-card reading for free on my website just because you are subscribed to my Twitch. That is a new thing I was able to actually implement into, like, integrate into the website. So what you will have to do is pick any 3-card or 6-card reading and you add it to your cart, and upon checkout is when my website will ask you if you have a Twitch account and if you are willing to connect to it, connect your Twitch account to the website. And when you do this, it can tell if you are subscribed or not. And even if you're gifted a sub at any point that you are subscribed due to any sort of reason, you get a free tarot read and you can order it directly on my website. So I'm going to try and keep people updated on those things because it's really nice and convenient. And we do just do other content on stream. Sometimes we read tarot on stream, but this is for anyone who's still interested in this stuff and wants to get a reading off stream. And you can still get your monthly Twitch sub every month that you have it. You can still get a free read every single month. And I'm limiting these readings to once a month because I don't want to overwhelm you guys with information. But also, if something happens to where we do your reading at the beginning of the month and then you want another reading at the end of the month, that's fine. I'm not going to be a stickler about it, but I am going to do what I am comfortable with and what I have energy for. And sometimes the months aren't all exactly the same. That's fine. And I just wanted to mention that if you do want more of a personal private reading, how my private readings work is that once you order it off my website, I have an email that I can send it to you through there. I pretty much record it on the side and then send it privately to whichever email is provided. And I feel like that is the best for me right now. I will try and actually have one-on-one sort of tarot reads that I could do within Discord or within like a Zoom call thing. I don't really have the time to do that, so it's just going to be a back burner thing for something in the future. If I'm going to do one-on-one readings, I really love doing in-person readings, kind of a thing, so that's just kind of my personal preference. But let's get into this reading here. Enough of me yapping. We're gonna start with the Star Tarot, and we have Auroralite 23. So this is a very intriguing stone, whether you are just a nerd about geology and science. If you are a nerd about those things, then this is your rock here. It's called Auroralite 23 because it has 23 different minerals in it that give it this color. And just even like if you look at the structure of it, there we go, you see that like V shape. It also kind of turns into like a flower right here. This structure is really only found in Auroralite 23, and it's very, very interesting to get into all of the different minerals that are in it. But the base stone it is from is amethyst. So it's amethyst that has been infused with an abundance amount of minerals that give it a different color, a different structure, and a different even like structural pattern per se. I'm not sure the exact geology words, so you're welcome to correct me where I may be messing up, but I really like this piece specifically because of this little flower shape. I can usually like sit it down on my desk and just have the like flower kind of facing me like that, and that's really, really nice because this is a big like advantage to just being able to send out energy in a certain way. And obviously the little point here is very, very nice. I just really like this piece, so if you decide to choose this piece based off of its shape and stuff, I do not blame you, because this is a very, very powerful stone. It has a lot of integration energy in it. To get down into, I guess we could call the meat and potatoes of Auroralite. Auroralite is a big connection to any sort of higher dimensional planes that people believe in, because I also am still researching just a lot of stuff, so there's a lot of things that I take into note. We all have different verbiage and terminology for things, so Auroralite is very, very just, it's hard to explain how connected it is to like higher dimension, higher realms, that divine connection, like the connection to the divine, to the creator, to God, whoever you want to, whatever you call it. And oh, it's funny how I placed that right on that star. It's connected in a way that is like, it's going to give you information through purification. So if you're really trying to work with these crystals and also work with Auroralite, if you ever end up finding a piece, they are very rare sometimes in certain crystal shops. Some have them, some don't. And if they have them, definitely just go with a tiny little piece. This tiny little piece has just served me well. You don't need something like this giant amethyst here compared to that. You can have something a bit smaller, and it will work just fine, trust me. That is just me being like, hey, it's okay. Everyone always has different crystal shopping preferences, but I just want to clarify that a little goes a long way because of how divinely connected this stone is. It has, I can only list off some of the like ones that I know. It has a lot of iron, it has bits of gold in it, it has bits of aluminum, barium, even I'm forgetting one of them. I gotta look up, give me 1 second. Because it doesn't give me the names, it gives me the chemical compounds. Beryllium, even, does it have, yeah, it has magnesium. It has, what was the one, I couldn't forget, silver, it has bits of silver in it. I think it also has bits of potassium as well, calcium is in there. What's another? Titanium is in there. Sulfur. What is... I can't find this one. What is SB? Is that... Hold on. I may have read it wrong. There's bits of cobalt... Words are hard. Cobalt in it. um, I really like talking about this stone because the way it teaches you and connects you to these higher realms is in a way of purification. It is going to fixate on your negative fixations or just negative energy that just could be stuck in you. And it's really going to fixate on those things. It says you want to connect to this higher divine realm of thinking and even just enlightenment in your mind. You got to really be honest with yourself. You got to shed every bit of not just weight, but shed every bit of illusion, fear, doubt, and even like bits of shame in us. It's always about purifying what really, not just what doesn't serve you like in this moment. It's truly what doesn't serve your soul and your spirit when you're trying to connect to these things. Because when we want to connect with our guides, our deities, God itself even, we kind of have to remove a lot of bias that we have had for a long while. Because let's say someone who is trying to connect to God feels like they can't follow the actual book, the Bible, whatever it may be. Talking about the Christian God. But they find small ways of connecting to what they believe is God through like herbalism. And they may not really understand herbalism, and some people may use it in a witchy way, and they may not want to use it in a witchy way. But removing the whole idea of, hey, you have to follow this one specific way of doing something is kind of wrong in how you want to connect to the divine. So when it comes to this rock specifically, I know I'm talking a lot specifically on this one, it's very much about releasing everything that truly doesn't actually like serve this moment in this time to connect you to the energies you want to connect to. It's not going to even allow you to connect fully if you are still sort of going through the purification process. It's not like it's going to just reject you. Crystals really can't do that unless you tell them that. In my belief, in a lot of people's belief, crystals inherently just have energy to them, is what I really believe. Even if someone doesn't believe in the crystal having energy and it working, I believe even when they're holding it, it can still work for them. Because of it being so heavily on this purification process, it's really about purifying yourself to integrate yourself into something brand new. But not exactly brand new, but since we're talking about the new moon, this could be something brand new. And I want you to explore how this sort of link that Aurora Light provides, the link to the higher realms, dimensions, just God, divine, whatever you believe in, how this can instigate a process of inner purification. So don't just think of it as Aurora Light doing this. How can even just access to higher realms give you this sense of, we need to purify ourselves before walking in the door? It's like, you don't want to walk in someone's door with muddy ass shoes. Excuse my French, but you don't want to do that. That's a bit rude. And if you end up doing that, it's probably because you thought that door led to something else, like it led to the garage or something, and you just made a kind of conscious mistake, and that's okay. We always make mistakes. We're human here. But I think this is going to really talk about how purification always comes up when we want to explore higher realms of enlightenment, higher dimensional planes, whatever it may be. I know this probably is going to get into a lot about astral projection and all of that stuff. Whatever you believe is what you believe. I ask that you just respect my beliefs and I respect yours. That's basically my whole thing with it. I'm not too complicated here on this channel, because I really like exploring all different things. This has been something I've always said, and I always will continue to say, especially on my Twitch streams. We really like talk a lot about the world and really just anything. And we have a little roommate cat joining us. Hold on, can you see her paws? Okay, so now your reading is going to. Sorry. This intro is going to be very goofy. The next up we have is Chrysocolla, or Chrysocolla. I'm not sure the actual pronunciation. Oh, yes, you want the squitches. Hi, man. Okay, fine. You can sit in my lap, but you're just sitting on my book with all the information. So Chrysocolla is very, very cool and interesting in my opinion. I absolutely love this stone when it comes to throat chakra work. Anytime I'm working with the throat chakra, I use this stone specifically along with Shatukite. Shatukite. It's a different one that I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. I may not be, and that's okay. They're very good for communicating with the inner knowing of you, and not just the communication of like, oh, I have to work with the throat chakra energy, whether it's releasing things, actually speaking your voice, or maybe just kind of having this bit of silence and listening to your inner voice. Chrysocolla helps with kind of both of these. It has this energy that is almost like this most gentle and graceful parent that also pushes you to be like, I believe in your words, and even if you slip up, it's okay, I'm going to be here for you. There's something so mothering about this stone that's like how calmly you speak to yourself and how much wisdom you give yourself when it comes to, let's say you do need to speak up about something per se. I'm not sure. You could either speak up or maybe you just need some silence. Um, there's this energy of always just having this. Hold on, ma'am, you are very much distracting me right now. I'm sorry. She cannot hang sometimes. She's sitting in my lap, but I gotta where's the word? There was a very, ooh, okay. This is, I literally saw it. Okay, so I'm not gonna read the whole sentence, but one of the sentences that sticks out to me in this book is the grace which allows for precise expression and kindness, and even bits of compassion. Um, it's something that is hard to really fully explain other than to really talk about how we choose our words when we're speaking to not only just the world, but like ourselves and our manifestations and the universe, and how we even treat like our past, present, future self, and everything integrating into this internal world, but also teaching how these things really, these kind and gentle and not only just compassionate words can also change a lot of things for the better. But maybe it's not like you have to be what people kind of misinterpret gentle parenting to be. Gentle parenting isn't just kind words all the time. It's not always about being kind. It's about being direct and precise in what you are trying to express. And sometimes we can just express it as a matter of fact. And that's a lot of what real gentle parenting kind of advocates for is, okay, nope, we're not doing that right now. This is what we should be doing. Because when we are young kids, we aren't given the tools of what not to do. We are taught these things. But sometimes when we're told, hey, don't do that, there's no direction on what we should do. And this is where precise expression very, very much is needed when it comes to actually being compassionate enough in your soul to reel in yourself for a second and actually teach a lesson here. Because this is all about inner knowing. This is all about inner wisdom and truth. And giving you the truth in a very constructive and compassionate way. Because when someone's trying to not tear you down, but it's like when you feel like you are having a lot of things attacking you internally, externally, whether it's other people or just your own brain sometimes, where humans are our own worst critics kind of a thing. It's really getting to the nitty-gritty of the truth. But the compassion comes in is when you realize that you are giving yourself this truth in order to grow, in order to care for yourself better and be even kinder to yourself in the future, and understand all of this is an actual emotional process, but it has to be very precise for you to understand it fully. That's the big difference here. And I am going to just move on to the next stone because we're going to yap about these stones probably during the readings as well. We have serpentine, and I believe it's also possibly serpentinite. Someone can correct me if you know what serpentinite looks like. I'm pretty sure this is regular serpentine. With also, I got a lucky piece here. It has some bits of pyrite in it. If it will focus. I gotta like shove it in your face there. I'm so sorry. It has little shiny bits of pyrite in there, that little metal piece, which is fool's gold, which is a really, really cool piece, in my opinion. I love this little tumbled stone. There's some more little bits of pyrite. You can tell it's pyrite with all the little different square shapes, too. It's very rigid formations. That's what pyrite is. And with this stone specifically, I always look at it and I think it is literally like how dragon eggs look like. So, if you are like me and love dragons and dragon lore, and even look, this is all about Norse mythology here, this runic tarot deck. I think that synchronicity in of itself is enough for some people out there. But I'm going to talk about what serpentine really is, and I believe there it's a type of marble, this white part here. I think this is a type of marble, and my book says Connemara marble of Ireland is a mixture of serpentine with marble. And I love Irish and Scottish like folklore and mythology as well. So this also could connect to a lot of those mythologies, because there's a lot of similarities with a lot of, I call it like Nordic lore, and also just either some bits of like Scandinavian lore, and a lot of just Irish, Scottish. Anywhere you are gonna find Celtic stuff, Druidic things, or Nordic stuff, and a little bit of parts of Scandinavia. It's kind of, it's hard to explain, but once you research it, you kind of see the parts of the world that it's from. This really has a lot of similarities, not just Norse mythology stuff, but is very Norse mythology based. Serpentine is this very like heavy stone that is like, you want to be grounded, okay, not like literally like you didn't do your homework, you're grounded. No, you want to be back on your feet again and feeling the earth and feeling solid ground. Serpentine, you feel that you need to get back to something important and ground yourself in it. That is the big part of serpentine that makes it different from any other grounding stone. Because garnet here, this is garnet over here, is very grounding, but we'll get to garnet in a second. So, serpentine is a lot of accessing energy of the earth and connecting with nature, but in a very, we can call an awakening sense. You are accessing not just to the energy of the earth, but to the lessons, the teachings, even the just lengths of wisdom that span like all the years of a great redwood tree. And those trees are pretty old, okay? And think of an oak tree, especially in Ireland and Scotland. Oh my god, there are some really old oak trees that are so beautiful, in my opinion. The amount of, like, protected forests that are in certain parts of the world, not just Ireland and Scotland, but when you really see this forest had, like, actual millions of years to, like, form and do its thing and not be touched too much by mankind. It's very telling, and it's also something you can feel. But even if, especially in a lot of parts of America, where there is colonialism, industrialization, all this make me roads and cars and non-earth like things, um you can still find these bits of history in trees, and specifically trees, because anytime you think about what's the one giant park in New York that's really famous? The huge, I'm so silly. I forget the name of the park. It's the big giant park in New York that everyone goes to and loves. I am so silly. I don't live on the East Coast anymore, so I completely forgot what that park's called. You can still go there and talk to a tree and see the history of things that even that tree has seen. It's not that far fetched to go to those places and connect with the nature that is still there, because it's still nature. It's still a tree that is growing out of the ground and doing all it can to survive in its current environment, wherever it may be. And that is something I think is going to be really telling for the reading, because plants don't just stop and lay down and say, well, I've done enough growing for the day. That's all the growing I'm gonna do for the day. For forever now. That's it. That's all I do. That's all that I grow. I don't think trees are doing that. I think they're going out there and they're still growing, regardless of uh, what is surrounding them, if that makes sense. So, we're going to move on to Garnet. Garnet is probably one of my favorite when it comes to really getting grounded in courage. I believe Garnet is really, really great for just feeling courageous and being courageous and trying to find that courageous self within you. The cool part about this piece is that those little clear parts, that is clear quartz. So if you ever find some garnet, you may actually find it with bits of quartz in it, because it grows kind of right next to it. And it's very good to find sometimes, and they may be a little pricier because the crystal shop knows that it's a little rarer of a thing, and it amplifies the energies 10 times, like tenfold. This little bit of quartz here, I always have this part showing up because it just feels like I can gain more energy of that the stone can provide a lot more. But when we talk about grounding specifically, it's in a different way, like how serpentine has a different form of grounding. This is grounding obviously in just getting on your own 2 feet. It's very simple for the like simplest definition of grounding, but it gets into a lot of what can give you the actual like prosperous courage to not just ground yourself in the material world and what you want, but it's what you actually truly want out of like being courageous. Like, we aren't just courageous and that's it. What's the thing that you want to be courageous in? What do you want to be courageous for? What do you want to have strength and, I want to say, ability to move forward in? Like, what do you need? It's not just about this wanting anymore. There's a part of this that is like, what do you need in this moment in time? Sorry, I'm feeling the need to kind of change some crystals around here. Very intuitive things going on. All that stuff. It is this aspect that gets you to think about courage. And I know sometimes it may not always mention the word courage, but the way it talks about prosperity gives me courage, if that makes sense. You are great in your prosperous life. When you're feeling super prosperous, you feel great and courageous. But only when it's that feeling of, I want to say, like, not just having good self-esteem, but when you feel good about yourself, you feel more prosperous. And this is where the whole like courage thing kind of it's kind of colliding with a lot of my words, so sorry if I'm not making sense. um I just see this one sentence and it just says it's wonderful for encouraging prosperity, but I also feel like with how it is really good at overcoming lack of self-worth, and not just overcoming like the lack of courage and lack of self-esteem. It reinforces the things that are being cleared out with the things that actually make you feel strong and prosperous, because sometimes being prosperous and feeling prosperous isn't just about being like actually successful in life. You could just feel like I have done so much for myself emotionally, spiritually, and internally. And even if it's just like physically, like if you started on a different little like health exercise routine, and started changing things about yourself, you feel like that prosperous self and it feels encouraging because you did it. And that's the thing that it's really trying to ground you in the most. Oh my, I gotta put her away. She's gonna just hang out in the bedroom for a bit. I have candles lit, and I'm literally was like, ma'am, let's not. I gotta go protect the loaf, but I think I'm gonna end my yapping on the crystals there. Thank you for letting me yap to you. I'm gonna leave you with the rocks and the cards and let you decide what you would like to choose for this pick a card reading. And remember, this can be watched during any new moon. So this is going to be for any new moon from now that I'm reading this and into the future, because today that I'm filming this is a new moon. So I'm very much having the intention of any new moon, anytime, even if this video is like 2 years old or something, you can watch this and it can resonate. And that is my intention, because I don't like posting stuff and then apparently it's like, well, it's meaningless the day after. Let's just get timeless here. All right. Enjoy, and I hope you choose intuitively. Okay, you chose Aurora Light 23. I hope you are super intrigued about this rock, just like I am. And I feel like part of what your homework is to genuinely like research all of how it's made, what's in it, because it's actually very, very intriguing to see what like stones are truly in this stone specifically. Um, Let me get back to that part in there's a part in the book that listed literally all of the different elements in it. And actually, let me see if I can get a list. Um, uh, oh my god. So, it actually has all of an abundance of like combinations of elements. Um, but the list is very extensive. It's titanite, cacoxenite, and that one contains like a bunch of different things. It has iron, aluminum, phosphorus, oxygen, hydrogen. Uh, that is cacoxenite or cacoxenite. I don't know if the X is like a Z or. Then there's lepidocrocite, wait, ajoite, hematite, magnetite, pyrite, geothite, pyrolusite, gold, silver, platinum, nickel, copper, iron, limonite. Listen, you may laugh at me if I'm pronouncing these wrong. This is totally fine. I do not care. um, Saphir or Sapphire. That one's hard. Uh, Cephalerite, Covenlite, or Covelite, Chalcopyrite, or there is a lot of vowels here. The next two I can't really pronounce, but then it goes epidote or epidot, bornite, and rutile. Or rutile. Vowels are weird in English, especially. They could be pronounced so many different ways, and I'm like, I don't know how this is pronounced, but there's a lot of different things in it, which contain so many other elements like sulfur, zinc, hydrogen, magnesium, or magnese. There's one that literally just contains magnesium and oxygen. Potassium, sodium, silicon, aluminum we already mentioned earlier, phosphorus we mentioned earlier as well, calcium. that calcium and silicon are really cool in my opinion. That it's just like, how does that fucking get in there? I also really want to study random shit like that in the future, but I'm probably gonna do that when I'm like old and crusty. I just turned 26, so anyway. Enough about that. Let's get into what you are going to be feeling or experiencing during this new moon. And I think we've really covered it with the first like description of aurora light, but I feel like looking into more of literally how it was made, how it's structured, how it forms too, because one interesting thing about rocks is that if you were to heat up this rock in a lab, this is just regular amethyst, it will technically turn into citrine. Citrine is another gemstone crystal, and it is literally heated amethyst. That's all citrine is. But there is naturally formed citrine, and there is obviously lab heat treated citrine. There is obviously a difference in just how it's made. People have different opinions on whether they like heat treated amethyst or not. I just think it's really fucking cool that the ground can essentially get as hot that it needs to essentially form this. This doesn't look like citrine, but this is technically naturally formed citrine that is super, super clear. And if you hold this up to like a super pure white sheet of paper, you'll start to see the hint of yellow in it. It's kind of interesting to like right there on that side there. It's very, very small, but I got one of the like clearest pieces for citrine, and it is just kind of encouraging to know sometimes that yes, we can do things in a lab, but it's not necessarily the point of whether one side is good or bad. It's to get you to see how the earth can actually just do this. It can create things like this. And it's not hard for the ground to do. I feel like it just does it. Like, it's just like breathing almost. Okay, no. We're gonna pull an oracle card and hope that the loaf does not interrupt the reading here. I couldn't find her earlier to put her away, so now she's still exploring. And she's definitely got the explorative zoomies. Come on, if you want to lay down, you can. You just gotta sit still. Let's get an oracle card to start, and then we'll start reading the whole oracle cards at the end, because there are more oracle cards I'd like to bring into the mix and explore, and I'm really excited that I'm bringing more oracle cards on, because I feel like it's really cool to just watch, like, 3 different oracle decks connect to the reading. It's insane sometimes. I have been reading for almost 5 years fully now, and it's been wild. It has definitely been a wild time. So anytime I even see the slightest synchronicity, I am just like right there with you. Hello. I don't think this is... No, because I want... Well, okay. Give me 1 second because we have a loaf here and my brain is a little distracted. Ma'am, I'd like to have you just sit in my lap. I do have my womanly debuff week going on, so I'd like some purrs. Your little engine going would be nice. It makes the cramps feel a bit better. Clear, honest oracle message for them, not for you, ma'am. There we go. Get a single card, please, and then we will possibly pull more towards the end. Or maybe we'll do a single card. Okay, or it's just gonna do... Okay. I thought it wanted 3, but I got confused, so we're gonna do 2 here. Because it has 2. You got the Bridge and Thanatos. That is a Greek deity, I believe. Ooh, and then we'll do bottom of the deck. There we go. You got the Medallion. I think some of you definitely would benefit off of getting a piece of Auroralite. There's something about it that's just like, it feels entirely meant for you. I feel like this is the one thing that has possibly been bugging your mind of like, is there a rock or a gemstone that is like going to help me in more ways that you can imagine? That is Auroralite 23. Try your best to get a really good piece of it and a really authentic piece, because I know it's hard to find that online. If you know the there's some crystal wholesalers that will sell like tumbled rocks of things and stuff like that, so don't be afraid to actually look for things. And usually sometimes there's like authenticity slips and things they provide, but I want to know, what kind of truth building are you doing here? Because Thanatos talks a lot about not just truth, but it's like the things that need to fall away for truth to actually make its way through and actually have this energy build a bridge to the truth, or maybe the truth and the wisdom of the truth building a bridge towards your mind and your conscious space. Clear, honest message. What's coming up for them in the new moon here? Queen of Wands, 7 Pentacles, and 10 Pentacles. Kind of coming out sideways here. I'm going to leave them kind of sideways. We're going to do this. Because this, I want to, like... Okay. This is how it is. Alright, alright. Quickly. 2 of Cups reversed on the bottom of the deck. I'm just going to take that for this side right now. We'll shuffle it back in. Because I kind of am curious to just, like, tell you guys what I see on the bottom of the deck. For anyone who's familiar with tarot. The Star Tarot gets super in-depth into all of its meanings. So when you look at these cards, this is a super in-depth tarot deck as well. If you are interested in getting a new tarot deck, I definitely recommend this with the Aurora Light. Especially this specific Oracle deck. These 3 things I feel like are kind of the key to someone's, like, genuine enlightenment and knowledge here. The Aurora Light, the Oracle cards, which is, this is the Oracle cards. They're archetype oracles. Ooh. I'll just put that book there for now. And then the Star Tarot. The Star Tarot is this. If you want to take a quick little screen grab of it. Kathleen McClelland. And this ain't just some cheap shit book, okay? This is a thick mama. This is a thick mama, okay? This is chocked full of information and even has little, obviously the spread stuffs, but, basically a bibliography of all the different things that were researched, and it is a lot. But that's just more of that. And it's just really, really useful. Has a lot of good, just, hey, if you are either beginner or wanting to move forward in your tarot journey, and you want to move into, like, more immediate kind of level of, like, reading, like intermediate level instead of beginner, this is a great tarot deck to, like, really explore every single bit of information the tarot and any tarot deck that you work with has to offer. Because the information you can get out of these cards is already telling me that that is kind of a beneficial thing. It's very kind of cute and silly for me to see the Queen of Wands out here, because the Queen of Wands is that mysterious sort of fiery nature. I always see it as she's the card that always has something going on, even though you're not really sure what she's working on or what they're working on. You know that you're going to see a finished project by, like, the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month. And it's always something that you are working on. I feel that you maybe can see yourself in that energy, but it's hard to realize where it may fit in your life. And I think that's what you've been leaning on the most with how these cards kind of came up. Like, this was a little, like, just sideways like that, and these just came out sideways, like, entirely, and I just felt intuitively they needed to be put like this, just as in order from, like, top down. The 7 Pentacles is genuinely what works for you, because the 7 of Pentacles is this level of growth that you're like, I see something's working. I see what we have actual growth. And to put it very bluntly, it's actually the pepper plant that's growing right next to me. We have peppers that are growing, and they're actually, like, pretty big, but they're probably no bigger than, like, one of them is, like, going to possibly be as big as this rock here. In, like, a couple days, but you know that you're seeing growth, but you know that it's not harvest season yet. That's literally where my plants are at right now, which is very cool and synchronistic here, and I really like that. But moving on to the 10 Pentacles here, the 10 Pentacles is very cool because while it's all surrounded by this beautiful, lush things, there are various details in this card, like these butterflies, the fairies, the little birds, and that key right there. The key to actual true stability in this aspect is almost to keep following what you've been doing, but what you've been doing has just been putting one foot in front of the other and seeing what the hell comes out of it. And I think some people are, like, asking you, how do you do this, Queen of Wands? Show us your way, Queen of Wands. How do you do this? This is great. This is amazing. How does this work? I want to know. You're like, you look so good at this. And you're like, I don't know. I just tried. And part of what you do when you try is you go and research what is good for your growth. You say, this is what's been helping this metaphorical plant of your life grow, this aspiration, this desire, this career, this courageous path you are on as well. I feel like if anyone is lacking some courage, to go look into the Garnet manga tarot reading, because that may have a lot of information for you as well. Because this is where it's trying to actually like get to the point where you can fully believe in the work that you're doing. And fully believe in it in enough to show how when you want to go try something, you go and look into what is going to make this 7 pentacles grow into 10 pentacles. You're not just gonna, well, I should look it up. I should maybe kind of do this, and then you don't do that. This is something that you know, and the Queen of Wands energy is just fired up to know every detail about something. And not just every detail in like a, I want to know, I gotta know, it's gotta be perfect. It's more of just like looking at information, seeing all the tools you have in front of you, and getting to work. It's why she's so mysterious all the time, because sometimes you look at the Queen of Wands and she's at her work table and you're like, yeah, it's probably gonna take her a couple days to finish whatever she's gonna start here, but she doesn't even have anything started, so who knows what she'll make. And then all of a sudden you turn your back and turn around and there's like 2 finished projects, because she realized that she could use basically 2 birds, 1 stone kind of metaphor, using a lot of resourceful things and having a lot of resourceful tactics that can help things grow even more abundantly than you ever thought. Because it's not like this person is just growing like these flowers here or these pentacles. There's corn. I think that's peaches and strawberries, and maybe even like, is that a nectarine or something? I can't even tell what the, hold on, what the big ones are on the side there. Hold on, let it focus. Or not. Camera, work with me, please. Okay. And especially with all of that in the top part of the card, I feel like part of you is like, I want to soar and be up in this 10 pentacles area and feel like established in myself. But I think the biggest reminder for a lot of people that may not be fully integrating within themselves is the fact that when someone looks like they either are courageous, encouraging, knowledgeable, talented, skillful, they may not feel like that in the moment. Like, they may not feel that courageous, that encouraging. A teacher that's teaching a masterclass may not feel like a teacher at the end of the day. But there are people willing to be there, willing to listen, willing to understand, hey, how does this work? It's actually kind of working for you. And I kind of want to find that within myself. And maybe this isn't just building a bridge to yourself. I think this is someone who's building a bridge into being a little less antisocial. And especially nowadays, where we need community more than we have ever fucking thought that we needed community before. And I think this is, I'm gonna put this back in because this kind of came out and I felt like it didn't really want to be out, but it's 5 of Pentacles. Yes, we are in a very fucking chaotic time, and it feels like there's literally no way out. Why is this card slippery? We feel like there's no way out, but what is directly in front of us is all the opportunity for the new beginning that we can all create ourselves. And especially within community. Especially within community. Something about this earthly pentacles is also about people and how we seed love in our community, how we can help people in our community, and even just help people in the sense of like just holding the door for somebody. Oh yeah, that old person's maybe taken a little too long to get to the door, but sometimes it's just nice, especially just to be like, hey, I want to make someone feel good for the day. Because then maybe they'll go out and they'll treat someone good for that day. And then maybe that person will have that chain reaction. And it's also seeing how this level of seeding love in places can work in almost every single community that is out there. We don't all have to agree with each other, but we can still love each other and be in our own shared spaces that we all want to kind of share community with. Metalheads and K-poppers may not have the same mentality when it comes to concert going, but there may be a metalhead K-popper that just loves both things and wants to switch back between back and forth between K-pop and metal and heavy metal. It's a silly scenario, but it's really getting to this aspect that you can see the love and see love in all aspects of community. But community also works with the community within yourself, that past, present, future part of you, the ego and the higher self, you could say, not really trying to one-up each other. They're trying to walk hand in hand. The ego and the higher self never want to really win against each other, because the ego doesn't feel good really when it wins. It feels accomplished for 5 seconds and then it's back to square one, it feels like, because that's essentially ego when it gets to the darker parts, the shadow parts of ego. I believe there are good parts of ego, because ego can also be talking about divine masculine energy, which is yang energy. If we're going to talk about yin and yang, yin is divine feminine energy, internal energy, inner wisdom, water per se. Divine masculine is yang. Yang is divine masculine energy. That is fire. That is action. That is external energy. So things that we are exerting. And when we really put the 2 and 2 of our internal thoughts and dreams and like actual compassionate courage for the future and for our reality, we can actually create action with our ego and our higher self working hand in hand here. This is something to really grasp in this reading. You, I think, are really being asked to even return to things that keep you yourself, but if you are holding on to certain parts, like physical objects that were parts of you that you don't fully relate to anymore, and you may not use this, it's like a necklace that you've been holding on to that you don't really wear. Maybe it's time to not only just physically let it go, but maybe emotionally let something go to this void of the universe, to understand, hey, this also is an object that can hold energy. You can either cleanse it and fill it with some new energy, or you could give it away or thrift it or whatever you want to do with it. There's a lot that we can do with our old objects, but the old us that is within those objects, the old energy of you that is within these objects isn't going to fully change you. I think there's a lot of distraction when it comes to any energy of objects, and I think the part of it that really needs to be looked into is cleansing day-to-day objects, cleansing things that are essentially hold on. Sorry, I see something on the ceiling and I don't know what it is. I'll figure that out later. Yeah, I'll figure that out later. Sorry, I literally got distracted myself. It wasn't even an object, it was just there's something on the ceiling that I'm like, I don't know if that's a bug or not, but it doesn't have wings, so I think we're okay. I think it's also dead if it's a bug. And I think maybe that, weirdly enough, is going to wrap around to, I think whatever situations are attached to certain objects are dead in the water, and it needs to be cleaned. It needs to be cleansed. There's an obvious, cleansing energy that needs to happen here, and partially, the easiest cleansing energy and purification energy is the goddamn sun. If you don't have the money or time to get these rocks, get these cards, stand out in the sun. And if it's a really hot day, make sure you're wearing your sunscreen. But get this energy that is the biggest purifying flame The most pure source of fire is literally our sun. And sometimes I think we got to go back and research parts of the universe here, because some part of this reading is getting super sciencey. Not just about astrology and the planets. Talk about the sun and how pure of its fire it is. And the cool thing that it's actually kind of coming up in my mind is, if anyone is familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, I want you to go watch it's in book 3, technically season 3, and it's kind of towards the middle end-ish of season 3. But it is when Aang and Zuko learn how to genuinely firebend. They learn the truth of firebending and where it really comes from. And it genuinely is the first source of fire, is where they pull their energy from. But it's from the fact that the sun isn't just fire. It's life. Without the sun, none of this would be in existence. Everything that we see on this earth is because, A, the earth at some point had this big giant rock that rammed into it, and then suddenly part of it became the moon. Then it was really lava-y and fire-y. But then all of those chemicals were mixing and stirring and germinating under the surface, and it created life because the sun still kept things going. It kept things warm. Then when it wasn't around, it cooled those things, and those things create a lot of different chemistry when you get to the actual science of these chemicals. That's what created the little teeny bits of bacteria that evolved into all these different bits of life. And we can argue different ideas of how humans came to be, but I think it's all interesting. And what was really cool to find out was the fact that when that meteor hit during the dinosaurs, it was springtime. They were able to figure out what season it was in when in certain parts of the world. I think it was springtime in the northern hemisphere, because they found pollen in the lungs of some of these like fossilized and just whatever they pull out of the ground from the dinosaur times. I'm trying to shorten this little tangent so I don't like keep going off, but to explore how life has been not only just created, but it is like a creator and a destroyer. And with that, it's such an energy that creates life, but we obviously know that too much sun is bad. But that kind of, I want to say, creates life in this like double-edged sword, double meaning, double entendre kind of meaning. It's not just like a destroyer of life. It creates life where it best can create it. It creates this like very direct sense of, this is happening, this is the feeling, this is the sun. This is what's happening. That's all it's like the feeling here for the sun is. And the reason it's in reverse is I think part of you kind of forgot where this is just us. This is the thing that makes us us. And if we have to cleanse some old stuff from back in the day to create some new energy for our metaphorical medallions, like whatever makes you you, whatever the rocks that you carry or the necklaces that you wear, the bracelets that you do, or even the nails that you paint, anything that you put on your human that you constantly do as like a, this is me, this is a conscious thing I do for me, even if it's clean yourself up, but those objects that you clean yourself up with and even put makeup on with count as like a medallion, a point of power. I do kind of remember the meaning of this card, but I do want to read the book because the book has such a graceful way of wording things. And I think the biggest aspect here to really like see is how all of this is purifying your sense of what you once knew. This is like a huge ego death in a way. And whether you are someone who has actually gone through a form of an ego death, this is like beyond an understanding that you could have ever thought of. And it doesn't even have to be insanely profound. It's just I never thought of it like this before. And that is going to be the most profound thing for years to come. So let's get the last card here out on the board here. 8 of Pentacles. Do not stop working. Do not stop working, because you have been seeing the motherfucking signs. 8 of Wands. We have 8 Pentacles and 8 of Wands. You've been seeing the motherfucking signs and synchronicities, and yes, you got a lot of ideas. Yes, you got a lot of things you may want to work out as well. But go with the next best step. What is a priority right now? Because as long as you keep things moving, you're going to eventually get to the 10 Pentacles. We're climbing up here. You thought we were going back to step 1. No, 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 no. This is just an idea here, a metaphor even. Ace of Pentacles isn't the step 1 when you're on step 7. It's this new idea you gain while you were on step 7. It's why numerology can be very important when we think about seeing the number 17 versus the number 71. I feel like the number 17 is indicating your first steps that you have taken are going to be very strong and very, very for you, and have a lot of growth that you are going to need to keep going with and have strength to keep going with. But when we talk about 71, we're talking about growth that is already here, and new beginnings and new ideas that we can embed and seed into this growth that can create more action and actual, like, completion of things. It doesn't necessarily have to be exact success, but it can just be the completion of a project, and that way you can move on to the next idea that you have in mind. Because 8 of Wands isn't just about signs and synchronicities. It can be about a lot about ideas and aspirations. You're like, oh my god, I have a lot of racing thoughts, because there's a lot either going on, there's a lot you have ideas for that you could do in the future, and there's a lot of actual signs that you've probably been getting. And I don't need to tell you twice on what to do here, but I think we're going to pull cards from the Sacred Geometry Oracle before we get into anything else. And thank you for listening this far into the reading. This one's going to be a bit longer than normal, so I think what I'm going to have to do, I really wanted to film like another pick a card reading today, but I may not have time, because I wanted to at least have something in the vault per se to put up for the future. But I just really like these readings. They're very intriguing in how synchronistic they get. We have the Nucleus. I'm gonna do one more maybe. And the Flower of Life. Oh my god. And then we have Starry Dreams. Starry Dreams. What? I don't think I've ever pulled this card. I learned my Oracle decks by pulling them myself, and there's a lot of cards that I may just not pull at all. And this one, I feel like I have not pulled this one ever in my life. My life. The way the Flower of Life perfectly fits, like, look at, oh my god. If you are somebody that knows sacred geometry and all that mumbo jumbo, you are seeing all of the synchronicities in this reading, with not only this nucleus that also creates its own star. We're not going to worry about the religious ties to that star, because Free Palestine, that's all I'm going to say. But that star has geometry, sacred geometry lore to it. It is not just a religious star. And that is the big thing that I want to take back, because stop trying to, anyway, Free Palestine. So the biggest thing about Free Palestine that I want to mention is I have to put this in my about section, or even in the description of my videos. I am offering free tarot reads to anyone who shows proof of donation to the people I am forming charities for, because I don't know what kind of YouTube AI bullshit is listening right now, so because I don't know who's listening, so I'm just gonna try and hide in plain sight here. But if you want to donate to charity, I have charity things up on my website, and you can get a free tarot reading of any kind, and all you have to do is just show me that you donated any amount. You can get a 9-card reading just for donating $5. But let's say 10 of you donate $5. $50 right there for someone who in need. And that is actually very important for right now because there are people really needing some food. And if you'd like to donate, that is also a thing I need to really put down in my description. So I'm yelling at my editing self to go do that. But let's get into another set of cards. We're gonna pull just from the sacred, not the sacred geometry, shamanic healing oracle, and I'm just gonna read the cards that are on here. We're not gonna read the book unless I feel called to, because I think this is the deck that we're just gonna look at the meanings of the cards, and that is it. Let's get maybe 2, I think? Feeling 2. Maybe 1 or 2 in the, like, one, we pull one and then look at the bottom of the deck for the other. Teaching. Oh my. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, hold on. Jesus. Sorry, that was confusing. Ancient wisdom and teaching. Maybe you are going to be teaching yourself some ancient wisdom here. And I love the way that this looks on the trees. It literally looks like shelves, like bookshelves sometimes, with the way that they're supposed to be trees. But the way they look, it's like they have like logs of information. And I think this is a really good time to use trees as your teachers. Trees have a lot of teaching capabilities. And it's something that we kind of tend to forget as spiritual people, of how easy it is to learn so much from a tree that is literally just next door. Or a tree that you're growing in your house, because sometimes we can grow small trees in our house and have like a bunch of indoor plants. Trees in general really have a lot of knowledge. They've been around for years and years and years, and the older the tree, the more knowledge you're probably going to just discover. Not in the sense of you're going to gain anything more. It's just you're just going to discover more information. The longer a tree's been around, the more information it has, the more experience it has to offer information from. So let's get into Thanatos really quickly here. We're going to read the book. Ooh. There we go. Ooh, okay. That's why I see this as a truth card. It technically is about death. Thanatos is death. It is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as a transformation, but the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the end of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. It leaves a mark of ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld, and will return to the land of the living eventually, with more compassion and wisdom to share. This capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the alienation of Thanatos can face anything. Or the annihilation, sorry. I screwed that up, my bad. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. Facing Thanatos leads to aletheia, which is essentially, when facing death, it leads to truth. There are those with great gifts, or there are those with a great gift, or for navigating Thanatos energy. Thankfully, we find these generous souls in emergency rooms, hospitals, hospice centers, and the like. And this is where I think this is a good aspect to really see how you can see these metaphors, synchronicities play out in the real world. Like, people who see literal death every day are actual superheroes, in my opinion. Like, first responders and just firefighters, and I worked in a hospital just as a materials associate, so I got to see and meet a lot of these doctors and ER like nurses and stuff, and just the strength that they have and hold is like, it's beautiful. It's also one of those times where I feel like I have the utmost, not just like obligation, but like I must give them the most compassion in the whole entire world, because that is the only thing that those people are deserving of. If you are saving lives out here, you are deserving of the most compassion ever, even if you're having a bad day. Obviously, there's a line to everything. I'm not going to say they like every single person deserves compassion all the time, because that is just opening a can of worms that just doesn't need to be opened. Because we can talk the semantics on that later. We're gonna get to the medallion. This is where we're talking about how objects can hold energy, and this really gets into that on a very, very deep level. So, oh wait, that is really far into the thing. Ah, okay, hold on. We're getting there. I remember now. The medallion, the amulet, the talisman, the heirloom. Imagine if you and your family, school, or social group had a crest, emblem, or amulet. What would it be? Draw it. The passing on of sacred objects is an ancient ritual within families, between lovers, and in tribes across the globe. We gift jewels, treasures, keepsakes, and mementos of all kinds. Some of great material value, others that hold emotional resonance, and still others with both. Yet when these gifts are bestowed upon us, it is important to recognize that they may bind us to an unspoken agreement or promise, or just energy in general, in my opinion. When the medallion card appears, be aware of how the objects you hold dear may be embedded with unconscious energy or expectations. Materials hold consciousness, and it's time to reconcile with the vibration of the objects around you. What do you covet and collect? Why? Is there an object you have held on for years that you are ready to release? Perhaps it is time to reach for the medallion that aligns with your deepest values. You believe that objects contain supernatural properties. When have you experienced this to be true? I'm just gonna move on to the bridge, because this is laying it out for me here, but we will get into the depth of it after we get into the sacred geometry stuff. The bridge, the connection. Bridges are built to connect two worlds. They create flow, allowing us to travel between realms, ideologies, personalities, and etc. This archetype is the gesture of acceptance, of saying yes, rather than withdrawing, separating, and saying no. When we cross a bridge to an unknown land, we are led magically into a new reality. We open up to otherness. We open ourselves up to otherness. Healing and communication are made possible. We enter a state of curiosity, wonder, and learning. The shaman, for example, creates the bridge between the everyday world and the sacred. This card asks us to study the connections between the seemingly disconnected parts of our lives, relationships, ideologies, and histories. And remember that a bridge can't be forced. It must be made with love, and it's our structure, and it must be made with love, or its structure will not withstand the inevitable weather of life. That's the biggest part I think you're really discovering, is that inevitable weather of life. Something about this is like, you know, you hold yourself strong when you face things directly head on. You feel even a bit courageous when you're really like, I want to get to the bottom of this. Now it's really about being honest with what you feel like is holding you back. What do you feel is something that is so ingrained into your everyday life that you may not be aware of how much energy it could be collecting around you? Because everyday objects need to be cleansed in a spiritual manner if you are very, very like believing in those things. I cleanse things like my computer, my PC. It's very silly, but I sit here and I make conscious like thoughts of, hey, is the energy in my PC all good? Because I know it can have a lot of different elements like silver and gold specifically that are used to make these PC parts. It can have energy within them, and it is something that is running with a lot of just energy in like physical electrical energy. So it's something very mundane and something not many people would think about, but that's the thing that's really being hammered here, I think. And it's really getting to the bottom of what those objects do to not only be cleansed, but to also create a stronger bridge. It's almost like you only have one color of this bridge being built, and you're trying to get the second one, and you're like, I don't even know how I'm gonna get that third one, because I can't even get the second one. But that's where the whole point of this is, to really trust in how you can cleanse in order to build something new again. The death becoming truth, or death leading to truth. Like, that to me is how you have to dismantle a belief in order to bring the truthful foundation, the truthful, strong foundation in for you. So getting to the Nucleus card, core issues. Interesting, okay. Like the core of an atom, this angelic guardian resides in the center of creation. Around and within move golden rings of energy and diamond geometry. She's contained and the container. Celestial bodies such as the comet and lunar eclipse act as signposts of the movement of heavens and the passage of time. Pulling the Nucleus card shows that you are at the core of an issue or the center of a debate. It is a place of beginning. It is a place of beginning and of inspiration. It is a position of leadership from which to move into the world or out into space and gain your wings. This is a time of energizing ideas and coming to terms with issues. There are those who will make unreasonable demands on your energy, and in doing so, ask you to make a decision or take a position that may not be in your best interest. Be advised not to ignore or glaze over the situation. Take a proactive stance and know that this will help you find the solution to your question. The other reversed part of this just kind of talks about how you could feel hemmed in, that you feel maybe even paralyzing effect of the situation, and it has you just wondering where to seek spiritual like refuge in a way. And that, I see that as like you've been trying to maybe not let things sway you, and it's kind of hard in what's happening currently today in 2025. And if you're watching this at any point, I feel like it could just be kind of hard to do that, and to really look into your soul and say to yourself, okay, this is something that needs an actual, like, honest look through. Like, you need to have a proactive stance on something, and it will essentially, like, find you the, I want to say, curious answer to your question. And it's something that I feel like only you can find when you truly go within and go deeply, deeply within. Because that's also what builds the strongest structure here with the 10 pentacles. 10 is also a lot of like, this is solid. It's not just completed, but this is a sure, solid like solution here. And it's something that you believe in too. Don't forget the things that you believe in. Please do not let those things that you believe in sway you from being yourself, okay? Just because maybe your next door neighbor may not agree with you on something doesn't mean you gotta stop what you're doing, because I feel like what you believe in does not harm anyone. Starry dreams. Dreams and visions. Stars and stars and stars. This card uses the five-sided geometry of the pentagon and its ability to design stars that fracture into infinity. This geometry creates a starry field in which the transcendent power of dreams can be used to access personal stories and visions. In the center of the card, we find a knotted torus of light, winding itself around and amplifying the effects of your starry dreams. You are invited to become keenly aware of all your dreams, be they daydreams, night dreams, or visions received in reverie or meditation. Each offers a message. Each contains some insight into the nature of reality and your place therein. By dismissing or overanalyzing dreams and visions, you may render them less potent. Instead, relax into contemplation of the elements you receive and allow your inner knowing to offer insights into the expressions your dreams provide. View them as aspects of reality. They are not separate or unrelated to your physical reality. Like the torus, they are wrapped around and intricately woven into the fabric of life. This white little thing that's wrapping around this star in the middle, that kind of circle thing you see, that is a torus. That is, it's T-O-U-S. T-O-R-U-S. It is not the Taurus astrology sign, I will say. Now, the flower of life is the symbol of you are being asked to look at the actual, like, deep within. And if you are someone that is familiar with just astral projection, lucid dreaming, I explore you to really get, like, to the bottom of your curious questions. The flower of life is an Akashic information system, meaning it contains records of all that was, all that is, and all that will be. The messages it offers are both intimately personal and universal. Open your awareness to the knowledge contained herein and listen to the responses you receive. You are asked to imagine this pattern existing as a three-dimensional holographic image made of 19 interlocking spheres. You may even wish to draw this beautiful shape using a compass. The flower of life is basically a huge blueprint for all wisdom and all knowledge gaining, and you are also just gaining in the situation. Something about how you see your own flower of life and how it's evolving and all of its different little evolutions, because I see this flower of life as like this ever constant blooming sort of lotus flower sometimes, in the sense of like how things are ever changing and there will always be like that growth of life that leads to death and this constant cycle of all that is, all that was, all that will be. This is a big ask to ask yourself, what has been the ancient wisdom that I haven't fully been actually following? You have been gaining a lot of ancient wisdom about a lot of different things, and I feel like now is the time to integrate it more than ever. You've been wanting to do something new to continue yourself in a very strong, compassionate, and very intuitive path. You got to find those cleansing energies, those cleansing methods, whatever you do, whatever is for you, even as just taking a goddamn shower or sitting in the sun. You can be cheap with it. You don't gotta buy all the expensive shit, because it's very easy to just use the sun as cleansing energy. And even use the upcoming full moon as I've accepted the deeper parts of you within you. Because seeing that part to actually come back around again, to have another new moon and integrate these newer aspects into your life, you're seeing the cycle that builds the bridge to your heart, to your soul, to that higher, I want to say higher self, but also higher like version of enlightenment per se. So that is all I have for you, and I just want to say thank you for watching, and I really liked this reading. This was a lot of cards. This was a lot of intuitive, like, there's a lot going on here. But I implore you to research and look into every little detail if you are ever confused about anything. I'm pretty sure I can probably try my best to answer in the comments. If you just want to ask in the comments, there are no wrong answers or dumb questions. I will do my best to explain what I know and maybe help guide you guys in the right direction in any sort of Google searches, because I know Google is a little weird sometimes to do research on. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Okay, you chose Chrysocolla, Chrysocolla, however you choose to say it. There's definitely a few different ways to say it. This is very blue, by the way. I really love this rock, just of how deep of a blue it is. And I always say to myself, this came from the freaking ground. The earth made something this blue that is super pretty. And this one has a lot to do with so much about communication, but about communicating with the self and the inner knowing and inner knowledge you can gain from communicating with the self. And to kind of dive a little bit deeper here, when we get into this inner knowing and gaining knowledge about ourselves, there's a lot that goes into it when it comes to cleansing this throat chakra energy. When we really get to be open to our own inner wisdom and have this very, I want to say, communicative flow with ourselves, we're able to actually represent a lot of powerful cleansing energy through this. It's this opening and this powerful opening up of the throat chakra and even the heart chakra a little bit to allow the heart to really cleanse the throat chakra and cleanse the communication, but it's you that's doing it. So it's you giving yourself this kind compassion and gentleness in order to really see yourself through to this, whether it's a healing process or through whatever it is that you're going through. Like, let's say you got to do a presentation and you just want to feel like you can feel confident and talk clearly and get all of your thoughts out clearly in something. Queercicola is very good for that because it also is teaching you how to kind of speak your own truth and speak to what's true through the experiences that you had, you know, sharing the knowledge that you've gained from just experiences that you've had, and nothing really like beyond that, it feels like, because something about the knowledge you have gained through experience is very much highlighted right now. So I'm very curious of what that's going to be, but I want to start by pulling some oracle cards, and we are going to introduce these two oracle decks here in a second, but we'll wait till the end for that. So I'm going to put those off to the side at the very least. Let's get maybe one or two oracle cards for pile 2. What do they need to hear for this new moon? What's going on? What do they need to hear for their highest good? Hello. We have the desert and the shadow. And on the bottom, the river. Very intriguing how those energies play out. We will read those in a second, but I really want to get to, oh, even the tarot decks, like we're getting to the meat and gravy here. 4 of Swords out here already, and sometimes this 4 of Swords I can like see the picture as the meaning, but sometimes I really don't see this picture as like the meaning I see. So sometimes if what I'm saying doesn't match up fully to the picture, it's because sometimes it shows me something else through its own picture. So 4 of Swords out here, also representing this idea of kind of resting on an idea. Resting on a thought process of something. You really wanting to see something through into the end. Because there's an honest part about something that can't be ignored. And I think the part of this card that it's trying to represent is how maybe your own, like, way that you communicate to yourself could be hurting you instead of helping you. And maybe you want it to help you, but you haven't really understood how to get yourself out of these binds, per se, these things that our mind can kind of get us caught up in. And it's not like you haven't figured it out and you need to, like, use the words that are hurting you to set you free. It's imagining your life without the binds and how you would prevent yourself from gaining these chains that bind, per se. And almost speaking to that younger version of you, the past you that didn't feel tied up in all of this and at a loss for what to do. Maybe there's a lot of what's happening here is a graceful fall into, hey, you can really set your mind apart from what has been hurting you. You can really set your ideas apart from, okay, it's not going to be like this, because you don't know what it's going to be like. Treating every situation that you may have anxiety for, or may have this thought of, I don't know what to do, I need to figure it out, I need to know exactly what to do, like this kind of rushing of the mind of trying to make sure you have all your eggs in one basket, but you're not even sure how many eggs they're going to be, or how big the basket's going to be. And kind of seeing that as like a, hey, you can do it too. I don't know what that means, but it's like you can do it through compassion too. And compassion to that past self that may have not felt accepted to speak up about things that were hurting, or even not just necessarily speak up, speak out on these things in your mind that you know not really are troubling you, but giving you this like sense of your own personality, your own just thoughts and experiences. And literally, I think it's just about your thoughts on your experiences. Like, this is what I've experienced in life, this is what I want people to know, because the swords are all about thoughts here. And it's, I always feel the like reeling back to thoughts and what they consistently are in tarot, and especially in this card. I see it as like a constant form of growth that you're trying to provide yourself. But in order to do that, you kind of have to reel back on anything that you have been super, not negative about yourself on, but like the whole I can't do it part. Because part of you knows that you can, but you're also using, maybe that's the thing, you're using your experiences in the past to say that you can't, but you also could use those past experiences to say that's every reason that you can. You keep going, you keep trying, you keep putting in effort. And I don't know what it may be, but there's something that is definitely feeling like you're left out in this either cold, dark, or super hot and blazing desert that is just lacking of life. But we also forget that the water is also within us. Four of Swords, Four of Wands, Eight of Cups. You have a solid, not just foundation, but structural mindset that can move you away from how you have once seen things in the shadow, per se. We could kind of see this as. But you need to recognize it within yourself in order to fully encompass this energy of walking away from this mentality and this idea of, oh, this is the only thing that can fulfill me. This is the only thing I am deserving of, and I should be fulfilled with this. I should just be fine with 8 cups. But you're dreaming of 10. You're dreaming of that 10th cup, that solid, I want to say, the Four of Wands isn't just about like happy-go-lucky times and celebration. It's about the structure that also creates a celebration, that creates happiness. We have these 4 corners that hold the walls, the structural beams of a house that like are literal support beams. And getting into the number 4, it is actual things that ground us in our, I want to say, like materialized world, in our reality. I was trying to find a different word than just reality, but 4 represents a lot of, I want to say physical manifestations, but in a way of, it's the structure that builds the 4 corners of a house. And that metaphor is like the only way I can really explain it. And if you kind of know what I'm understanding, what I'm picking up, what I'm putting down, I feel like the big other layman's terms way to put it is how happiness and like a happy wedding, like in this scenario, isn't just something that is like done in a spark of the moment. It's something that is also like planned and built around, and you are also creating structure. So hey, if this happens or this happens, we're prepared for this and we're prepared for that. And seeing how that is the true builder and creator of happiness, instead of just the happiness and the celebration of happiness in general, it's actually how you choose to bring it into your life to stabilize it. That's the word I was missing. Stabilize and stable and stability. 4 is all about stability and instability. The things that we do to create stability, or the things that we don't do that create instability. Or vice versa, even, depending on the situation. 6 of Wands is this, like, big recognition. You gotta recognize this before it becomes your, I want to say, tripping over your own shoelaces. And it's not like you're gonna fall flat on your face in a very, like, negative way. It's like, okay, well, I guess we'll just wait till the next new moon. We'll just wait till the next time that this comes around, and we'll give pile 2 the same full wraparound explanation of this again, and see if they understand and can recognize it within themselves. But at the same time, it's not like you're gonna go through the exact same experiences that you went through just because you haven't learned a lesson. Sometimes we need to go through experiences to gain a bit more information, to have more recognition and more of a breakthrough that could just be meant for us in the divine timing of it all. Because part of the Desert card sometimes is also waiting in this realm of divine timing and seeing how much more life there is in the desert than just the dry sun and the cold night. Temperance. Last card on the board here. Six of Wands. Temper is kind of sideways here. And King of Pentacles with the Lovers reversed on the bottom of the deck. So, getting into all of this, you have great self-awareness, I feel. I feel like the big part is so confused on what to do with action. When you're not really sure what action to take, the best kind of action to take is one step into the realm of the shadow. I say one step into the realm of the shadow because that's when you can truly understand what stops you. When you understand what stops you, now it's time to go back and step into, you're not stepping back, you're stepping into that higher self, that light of yourself, and seeing what can give you drive and passion. Now, when you see what stops you and what gives you drive and passion, it's time to kind of use what gives you drive and passion to cleanse the things that are stopping you from the drive and the passion. It's a weird double entendre, if you want to call it that way, double meaning here that's also flipped completely on its head. It feels like you are actively needing to give yourself the medicine for this thing that kind of stops you. Like, the medicine for the thing that stops you is the thing that is being stopped. You gotta push past your barriers. Your barriers weren't yours that you built. They were maybe other people's beliefs of what you have built. But you know exactly the happiness that you've created for yourself. And you maybe have celebrated some accomplishments of building this for yourself. Don't cut yourself short emotionally from this. Don't deny yourself from the credit that you can choose to acknowledge, to recognize here. The Lovers is all about choice. So when we get into the King of Pentacles here, King of Pentacles is really a lot about making sure that everything that we have created is protected. The King of Pentacles sometimes gets not just greedy, but so just seems like greedy from the outside, but they're greedy in a way of trying to protect what they have created. They want all these walls and all these things built up around them, but it's because of something else that put the fear into the King of Pentacles, not the King of Pentacles' beliefs of barriers and what they think should be a, like, not just a barrier, but a boundary they need. And I feel like sometimes people get boundaries mixed up with, like, hey, this is a preference that I don't like. Sometimes it can be a preference, but half the time boundaries are just common sense, like human decency and, like, respect to human beings. Like, common decency feels like it can be hard to come by, but not when it comes from yourself. you have the actual choice and actual power and compassion to look within and find that yourself. So we're gonna go into the oracle cards here. I'm very, oh, hello. I'm very curious of what's about to pop up. Transmutation. We have a card of transmutation that is literally temperance. Transmutation. I love how it's on the other side here. And a wise friend. Talking about trees here. A wise friend. And then I guess we'll do one more. And I'll just put it on the bottom of the deck. Oh. Oh, cute. You got the hexagon, which also is like the points for the flower of life, per se. This other deck here, I'm just going to pull the cards, and we aren't going to read from the book unless I feel called to. I just kind of want to get 2 cards that could relate to whatever. Transformation. Do you choose this transformation and this transmutation into something beyond what you could have seen and could have explored before? Do you see how much is being transmuted in your own life? Because I think some of this is like, can you see it? Because if not, then there are some very wise spiritual friends that are trying to get you to see it. Even me here too. So I'm gonna maybe get one other card. There we go. Changes. Transformation, transmutation, temperance, and changes. Alrighty. Let's get into the book of the circle cards first here. Talking about the shadow. The shadow, the unspeakable, the unwelcome, the denied. Although every card in the archetypes deck has a shadow potential, this card asks us to delve into the qualities of the shadow itself. We often think that the shadow can be purified, illuminated, and made right through the effort and achievement. However, it is typically the case that our lofty pursuit of ascension and perfection is the very source of shadow material itself. By rejecting parts of ourselves in the world, we begin to separate from the whole. Rather than getting to know the qualities and the content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. This is denial. When this card appears, it is time to take inventory of those things that you've been denying. This new moon is not holding back. You are denying things, you gotta get right with yourself and be like, hey, we're doing this to begin growth here. This is the compassionate speak of this stone here. You can't just start being mean to yourself. That's not the point here. When the mind responds with no, anything but that, you're touching the shadow. Find support for this deep inner work and move towards the shadow with patience and compassion. Contemplate the following scientific observation. The closer an object, person, place, or community is to the light, the longer shadow it casts. I think I'm going to let you sit with that. We're going to move on to the next one here. The river. The river is my favorite. It is beautiful, in my opinion. The river, the stream, the flow, the current. There's a reason so many rituals of change and rebirth take place in the river. It is forgiveness embodied in physical form, and cleansing as well. Without asking anything in return, the river washes away what is no longer necessary, smoothing over sharp edges and accepting all of our mistakes and grievances. When we step in, we are no longer in control. The river carries us further and farther down the stream of transformation. Starting to see a pattern here. Farther down the stream of transformation than we plan to go. Its waters have a special gift, and special gift for reflecting back to us a new dreamlike vision. Once the tears have passed, we see ourselves as we haven't before, with a little more lightness, grace, and fluidity. Keep in mind that you, the you that stands within the river, is the real you, full of deep emotion and potential. Nothing to hide, nothing to judge. May you drink in the sight of your true self. You can only resist the river for so long. Eventually, it will pull you towards change, so you may as well get in with style and grace. What is your style? What is your form of grace? How can you be graceful towards yourself? Give yourself the medicine you needed long ago. Give yourself the medicine you needed long ago. I don't know what that means for you, but you gotta give yourself the medicine you needed so long ago. And literally, like, not even the like next few pages, because again, there's the ocean, the forest, and then the desert, the drought, the wasteland, the badlands. The desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles, we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life. The desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blindingly bright, and its darks are terrifyingly deep, which makes it for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truths reside in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, the coyotes' call surround you. Let the winds and the sand work their deep magic, weary traveler. The desert is alive and pulsing with energy despite its desolate appearance. Turn towards it rather than away from it. When in the throes of the desert, contemplate the following. You are not alone. You have more supplies with you than you think. Water is very near. You may not see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you know one day you may start seeing actual light at the end of the tunnel, and then isn't that the hope that we're all kind of looking for in our life? I feel like this deep integration is so much so... sorry, hold on. I knocked something over. This deep integration is so much about just integrating transmutation into your life so you can actually see the truth of your, I want to say, soul. It's like seeing you for what you really are to the core, and only the desert can really do that when it's got nothing else and nothing left to give but truth itself. I think that's the big ask here, is you got nothing left to, I want to say, lose when it comes to truth itself, so why not fall into the whole entire aspect of truth? Dynamic change, and the truth of change as well. This card reflects multiples of six-sided geometry, and there's also, it says down at the bottom, there's no reverse aspect of this card, by the way. So even if it's in reverse, it's just showing you different side of it, I guess. It's kind of cool, though, in all of its colors, I think. I like all of these kind of colors mixing together. It is space, power, time transmuted by consciousness. Represented energy forms are fire and lightning, nuclear and solar, all active and dynamic, but transmuting form into something very new. Pulling this card suggests that there is dynamic change at work in your life. Yes, I feel like we have covered that. I'm just reading the book. This change is beyond what you have experienced before and promises to transmute the very core of your being into someone you may not recognize from your present perspective. And that's okay. Nothing about the old you is fading away. It's evolving. You are learning, you're growing, you're evolving into something new. Don't ever think that you are losing parts of yourself. We are gaining more and more knowledge to evolve. Like how our white blood cells go and form a scab in order to heal that wound that we got scraping our knee. And if we scraped it a little too much, maybe we'll get a scar from it, but eventually it won't be an open wound that's bleeding anymore. It grows, it evolves. Just like you. When time and space are viewed as a holographic rather than linear, or as in the Hopi tradition, as a river on which one can travel forward and backward, it becomes clear that any event has more than one possible outcome. Quantum physics tells us that the observer affects the outcome of the experiment. Metaphysical thought further suggests that by our intentions we create our own future. All views indicate that we as individuals have an effect on the holographic nature of reality. Once you realize and learn to utilize this function of intention, you have responsibility for not only the consequences of your behavior, but also the consequences of your thoughts. Know that you are a very powerful being of intention. Pay attention to all your thoughts and transmute the ones that trouble you or cause fear. By transmuting fear, we are helping to usher in unity, consciousness, heart connection, and compassion. I'm going to move on to 43 because that is directly before transmutation here. You have lots of numerology playing out here, by the way. Hexagon, beauty and perfection. Beauty surrounds you. This card suggests that you focus on that beauty and seek ways to bring it more consciously into your life. Most lives are filled and overflowing with places to go, people to see. Sometimes in our busyness, we forget to notice the beauty that surrounds us everywhere on the planet. Perhaps a walk in the woods is in order. Move deliberately, allowing all your senses to become aware of perfection that surrounds you in nature. Listen to the birds, smell the scents of the forest. This may be the perfect day to gather your family for a visit to the art museum. Perhaps you will want to stop at the florist and bring flowers home to cheer and calm the air, or purchase a crystal and place it where you will notice it every day to remind you are in a fast-paced life, to take time to appreciate its beauty and perfection. Walk in beauty. This is so needed. I think when we were talking about like communication, especially when it comes to like community, there's a lot of community things being like played out here, especially just for the time that I'm reading this, even though this is timeless. There's a lot of compassionate feelings towards community in this sort of energy. We live in a very like capitalistic society in a lot of different places in the world. Money and currency kind of are what runs the world, and sometimes that requires a very fast-paced life. And sometimes I believe that sometimes people want it to be fast-paced, so people can't catch up and, steal the money, steal from the pot, or take a bigger piece of the pie or whatever. They want the whole pie for themselves. But what they don't have is that sense of self, to actually explore themselves, to think consciously, to think deeper thoughts, and how they can't just only help themselves, how you can help the world around you. And through maybe this wise friend here, you may understand the nature's wisdom in it all. It is reversed, so I will read the reversed meaning here first. And I think this is a big, like, being honest with yourself of how nature may have actually has guided you and helped you in a lot of different aspects of the shadow, and exploring the shadow self and doing a lot of shadow work and stuff like that. I'm gonna read bits of the just meaning of this card. Ancient trees are wisdom keepers. When you approach a master teacher or a revered elder, it is customary to offer prayers and pay tribute. And I think anytime you want to go out into nature and explore this, like, wise friend of nature, really go to it like someone out of wholehearted respect. Your connection to nature, it says your connection to nature has been severed. I don't think it's been severed, but it definitely has had a lack of connection lately. It may be that you live in a city of glass, metal, and concrete. In your busy life, you may simply have lost touch with the importance of nature the importance nature holds in maintaining your balance and all well-being. Make an effort to reconnect. Find even the smallest natural place and quietly give thanks to the planet for all of the creation, for the gifts that fill your life, and the ability to see beauty everywhere. This is asking you to really get outside or get into a spot of nature and just sit with it. Be thankful that this plant is alive and alive today in this moment. And if you have your own plants, sit with them. They are very conscious beings and creatures, in my opinion. And if you believe that they're alive, they definitely have thoughts and feelings and emotions. And that is actually something that can be studied. There's a book that I have that I love that is called The Secret Life of Plants. And it pretty much goes into all the different studies from like the early 1900s and even late 1800s, studies and research that they did and experiments that they did on plants and how they are very conscious, emotional, and spiritual beings. The whole entire book is amazing and immense in its information, and I absolutely love this book with all my heart. There's so much information that is really, really cool to look into. And I think the best part about how this book is set up is all of the different names of the chapters, because it talks about, the modern research, pioneers of plant mysteries is one section, and it talks about tuned to the music of spheres and how plants are very responsive to electromagnetic things. They even give off electromagnetic energy, and just I'm forgetting the word here, but also they're very attuned to different frequencies and harmonics and stuff like that. And then it talks about soil and the science of soil and how people sometimes think it should be called soil instead of dirt, because soil is something rich and dirt sounds dirty and we don't want to take care of it and we don't think of it as much. But the soil is very, very important to how a plant can grow, and I think everyone knows that. It's why we go out and buy the when we want to build a garden, we go out and buy the big bags of soil and not really use our own dirt in our backyard for just obvious reasons, or maybe there's other reasons that we don't use it, because sometimes your dirt can just be not good to grow things on, and that's okay. It happens. Let's get back into the reading here, because I think the big part of this is you have a choice here. The center of your reading is the Lovers. This ain't got nothing to do with love, except for the love of nature and how nature has love for you. At the end of the day, it can feel like it has love for you. Excuse me. The Lovers, when it talks about choice, it talks about how we can choose love in our lives, how we're the ones to actually choose love and keep it in our lives for however long. It almost is like this aspect of, hey, you are the creator of the beginning and the end of something as well. This is a rebirth process that you also have to choose to also just want in your own way. This isn't something that has to be forced upon you. You can do it in your own way. But if you want to find your own way, you really got to be honest with yourself. Can you start taking a further step into this new form of transmutation? This new change within you? Because I think part of you has been recognizing it for far too long. And now the choices become clear. And I think that is the biggest thing I will leave you with. Because the biggest teacher, I think, for anyone who wants to go out and get a new crystal is Chrysocolla. Or Chrysocolla or something. I forget it's a very long word here. I'm gonna pull the book out so you can see how long of a word it is. This is a very big book. But that is the rock. I call it Chrysocolla or Chrysocolla. I think it's said in different ways, but all that matters is that you are learning the things about you in order to transmute all of this old hurt into something brand new, because you are the giver and taker of your own growth and success. You are the one that can take action or no action, choose or not choose. And I will leave you with that. Thank you for watching. And if you want a private reading, or anyone wants a private reading, check out my website, because if you are also subscribed to Twitch, you can get a free 3-card or 6-card reading on my website by connecting it to, basically once you get to the checkout page, you can connect your Twitch account to my website, and it will basically auto apply a discount for you and all that fun stuff. So thank you, and I appreciate all of you, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye! Okay, you chose Serpentine. And very marbly serpentine with a little bits of pyrite in there. And serpentine is really, really great for just different parts of grounding. We're going to get into the deeper meanings of it here. Because when we talk about how we want to connect to the earth, this is like you directly connecting with the earth. And that shows a lot of different ancient wisdom, especially when we talk about trees. It harmonizes with the earth for healing properties, and these healing properties can help not only discover what is blocking you to have a clearer path towards enlightenment and towards an awakening, but it's that path towards an awakening that it's going to have you discover things that are not necessarily like delaying it, but the things that either are lacking in certain parts, or things that need to be released and let go. And this is the big, like, just grounding shift that serpentine can take when it comes to its awakening abilities and properties. This is very individual to how you experience it, because there's a wide range of psychic and spiritual just like experiences people have had with this stone, that it is always going to be personal to you. And a big part about this stone to me really is I've seen it as like a dragon's egg. So I've seen it as like that powerful being of a dragon, but in this very earthly realm. And when you use this in a very awakening parts of enlightenment or aspects of enlightenment, it assists in bringing about a safe and balanced awakening of these profound energies. So it feels comforting to, have, it's not like just feeling comforting, it's like feeling comfort in a sense of calm energy in order to really get into the deeper parts of what you are trying to awaken within yourself or integrate within yourself. And we're gonna get into some oracle cards here. I think I forgot to spread out the cards for pile 2, but here we go. Get a clear, honest message. And we got like 3 cards-ish last time, but whatever seems to come out will come out. So we'll get probably 3 again here. We have the Father. This is archetype energy, so this is not relating to gender at all, but just archetypal energy. The Destroyer. Interesting. And the Eternal Child. So, a big part of the Destroyer energy talks a lot about how, there are beginnings and ends to things, and whenever there's an ending, it means that there is definitely a new beginning for something, a rebirth of something. And that knowledge can take us super, super far when we really allow ourselves to genuinely explore the things that are being dismantled, destroyed, or exposed, and not necessarily like things being let down and just people being let down, but the things that have been leaving people feel let down, how that can basically awaken, this drive to create something new. If something's being destroyed, then we got to fill it up with something new again. And I think you're of this energy of, I'm gonna be damned if I let this slip past me, because I think there's a big aspect to, thought something flipped there. Big aspect to, the eternal child is within us all. Every single adult is just a little kid that grew up a bit older and somewhat a bit wiser. But some old people are, with the way that America is right now, some old people just need to retire. I think we can all agree on that. And I think the big message for this pile here is a lot of how your discipline may like destroy barriers, but it also leaves room for openness and for things to actually like have new beginnings again. It's like clearing out the board and clearing the table off so you can really get down to, okay, now let's really put all of this on the table. Not just clearing the table out, but maybe clearing the table and bringing in a bigger table to see the bigger picture of something. Because in this metaphor, sometimes certain people may not have the full mental capacity to see the bigger picture because their metaphorical table of perspective is probably a little small. And maybe you destroying this table of their perspective can provide a larger table for an even larger perspective on the world and just things around them. Temperance. You are very much recognizing how much temperance you need to have, and this is literally, I hate to word it this way, but I feel like someone's like, I'm not gonna act like my father, my mother, my older parent, this person I don't like that has basically told me what not to do in life. You're not gonna act like that. You're gonna act like something that's new, refined, reformed, and disciplined. Disciplined in the way of, yes, we need to release things in order to bring about new things. We need to release this in order to do this. And that is the energy of Serpentine as well. Like, you're needing to do something in order to bring about something new. And this wouldn't have been realized if you really didn't sit in this hermit stage. I like how this hermit card's coming out. It's very more telling to the situation here. Hello. Hello. No, I think that was just my mistake. Okay. Temperance, the Hermit. 8 of Pentacles with 3 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck here. I feel like you really are not only integrating this new enlightenment and this new awakening, this transmutation energy into your life, but it's also this transformation and transition out of a hermit stage. Not many times do we talk about transitioning out of a hermit stage because it's something not just like rare, but it happens very quickly in my opinion, and it also, life can really just whiplash us right back into the hermit stage in various ways. And what it feels like for you is like you've learned things on this journey of solitude, on this introspective journey. You've learned so much and you've gained so much knowledge that you've worked for, and you have actual like material things to show of your work. Whether it's external work or internal work, you have things to show off of it or show from it. And I think the biggest part is you're only seeing a small aspect. And the part that I think that is not just you, it's like you recognize maybe the shadow side of you, this shadow work that you still do within yourself is like, oh, we only have made 3 pentacles, but you gotta go back in within yourself, which is also this card I see as a me, myself, and I energy, us like working with ourselves and the tools we have around us to create what we want and what we desire in this life, in this reality. You're seeing, oh, we only see 3, but then really reminding yourself, no, we've created 8 pentacles. We've created a lot here. And I think you're forgetting how young you were when you started doing something. You could be 40 right now, and 20s could be young to you. It doesn't matter what age, just younger than you are now. You didn't realize how early this either belief, this idea, this integration probably started for you. And I think this is something that is actually very telling to like how you explore your path. You have been exploring it in a way that's been very, very meaningful towards you and very enlightening to how you explore meaning in general in life. And it's something so intuitive. The High Priestess is out here to be like, yes, you are an intuitive ass mofo out there. And you are gonna be damned if anyone's gonna be putting up any towers of illusion, deceit, lies, fear, and doubt. You are a powerhouse right now. You are literally the dragon's breath. The dragon, the dragon's breath. And the intelligence and wisdom that dragons do offer. And think of D&D lore. If you're not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, there is a bunch of lore to dragons in general. There are different types of dragons, different like rarities of dragons, and the rarest dragon of them all, that's also like, I think like a golden dragon or something like that, is the wisest of them all. There is one dragon that is like the wisest of them all, but it's still a dragon. It still has a fiery dragon breath that can destroy so much in a single like blink of an eye almost. And that energy is within you, but you are knowledgeable enough to only use it when you intuitively feel right. When one torch needs to be lit but not the other. When one light is going to be a guiding light and the other is just represented for when you need a guiding light in the future. Or maybe that guiding light for something else, for somebody else in the wakes of your existence. There's that little like bison buffalo behind them. I think it's a bison. 'Cause bisons are different than buffalo. Are they the same thing? I always thought there was like, there's a small difference. I know there is. I forget what it is. My brain's blanking. Because I'm really thinking about you here in this intuitive process you have. You are very much so strong when you are intuitive, and I think you need to really realize how well you direct destruction in terms of creation. You see probably, and it's easy to see the insecurity of, oh, I'm just destroying everything. No, you're clearing out things that do not belong here. Do not belong in your space, in your community, in your life, and in the livelihood of humankind itself. You are saying enough is enough to create a better future, and we need people like that, because not everyone can be that person. Not everyone even feels the fire of being that person, the literal fire, internal fire within you of being that person. You just are. You don't know why, you don't know how it got here, the unknownness and mystery of the High Priestess. You don't know how all this belief got into you. But damned, you will be damned if you sit by and do fucking nothing. And especially just for yourself in your own life. You will be damned if you just sit back and let life kick you down. That ain't what it's about. And that is the internal child speaking to you. The internal child is speaking to this aspect of fun. And life can be fun. Community can be fun. People can be fun. But if we keep choosing to do this fuck shit, and I think I just need to just word it as fuck shit, you're clearing that shit out. That's not the tower that builds communities. That is the tower that builds destruction. And sometimes it needs to be destructive in a way that doesn't actually like destroy physical things and destroy life. I want you to go back to, silly enough, the Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is going to be a bit of a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, I'm sorry. I guess just find a way to not listen to what I'm about to say. Turn the volume down. But Aang has to fight the Fire Lord at the end, and he is a monk. Aang is a pacifist throughout the whole entire show. Actually, this is a very, very good card to have on the bottom of the deck. Aang is saying, I am this pacifist. This is who I am. I am not killing people. I am not killing the Fire Lord. We do not kill people here. I do not do this. I do not do this with intention or with purpose. If somebody gets hurt and gets killed, it's out of accidental things. It is not an intention that Aang, the monk, the airbending monk, has. And the monks taught him so much about pacifism that he ends up learning something brand new, and this is the spoiler, The brand new thing he learns to do is to take the Fire Lord's firebending. He basically took his bending away. Took the powerful being and energy that was making the Fire Lord such a powerful being. He took that away. So when you take the source of the thing away, when you destroy that source, imagine what new energy can be created that is even more abundant than what can just be created if the Fire Lord had been killed. And that's the big thing of, if the Fire Lord had been killed, Uncle Iroh in the show talks about how history will just see it as just nonsense violence or senseless violence, and they won't really understand the importance of stopping the Fire Lord. It's stopping what he was doing, not him as a human being. All Aang and the Avatar wanted to do was to stop this from happening, and he thought he had to kill him, but in reality, he learned how to take his bending away. He learned a new way to seed in this destructive energy that is also still very, I feel intuitively to just put that right there. It feels very, hold on. Not telling, but telling to the tarot read of how you can really see a new aspect of how the destroyer energy, this tower energy, can lead into something super brand new. It's not about this fight here, too. It's like you're fighting to protect something else here. There is something else in this moon card here as well. That flower of life, that humanity within all of us. You can protect that. But you also need to be honest with the things that need to be stopped. What needs to be stopped is maybe your belief that you're the only one that believes this. I think what needs to be stopped is how you feel like you can't explore more of this aspect, how this is a demonizing part of you. And I think part of you has been really working on not seeing that side. And this new moon, whenever you're watching this, is truly asking you to step away from that fully, wholeheartedly, to see yourself as the fully embodied creator out of the destroyer energy. The destroyer is the creator at the same time. You create space for life again. You create space for a new movement again. Oh my. Oh my. Okay. I think that's all what we're going to take. We have the square crossing over Earth Grid and the Kabbalah. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Calm Within. So I think I'm just going to put this maybe like here. And then we're going to get 2 cards from the Shamanic Healing Oracle as well. Just taking the words off these cards as they are. We can get 1 or 2. Oh, one was upside down. Are any more upside down? I don't think. I think it was just one on accident. Oh yeah, I remember there was one. Okay. Clear, honest, 2 cards, please. What do they need to know, need to hear? Hello. Changes. Hello. And self-love. And on the bottom of the deck, we have duality here as well. So I'll just kind of put those over here. We're going to put this there, slide that over here, and then kind of just lean this like here. Because I want to fit like this into frame, but also, wait. There we go. All right. We're going to start with the circle cards here. I'm just going to read them in order. First, we have literally the second card in the entire deck, which is the Father. The great father, the masculine, the protector. Alongside the mother, the father resides in the central axis of the archetypal family. The father embodies both light and dark aspects of the masculine. Thus, he is infinitely dynamic and complex. His energy is strong and regal, embodying such virtues as honesty, wisdom, and loyalty. Yet, ironically and simultaneously, the father is often absent, literally or emotionally. Through absence or action, the father eventually reveals that he is neither a king nor a god, but a human being, with many flaws and wounds. He is both the guardian and one who leaves us to the wolves. Here, yet gone. The champion and the failure, the father can never resolve or escape this duality. It is inherent in the archetype itself. Witnessing the father's limitations allows the child to grow beyond the family and into the world. It's this duality that gets us to realize not everyone's perfect. Our mistakes make us who we are inherently as well. Become a student of this masculine energy. Watch the father in movies, in Shakespeare plays. See the father as a pattern, not as personal. Read poems about the father. Sharon Olds' His Stillness, or William Blake's Little Boy Lost. It's like the aspect of you are always parenting your own inner child. You're always being the teacher of your own student. The eternal child, the inner child, the child of joy. The eternal child is connected to the timeless, ageless, and infinite aspects of life. Oh, I'm liking this already. Excuse me, I had some coffee I needed. It is radiant and fearless and seeks joy above all else at any cost. It struggles being bound to an aging body with physical limitations in a world that demands attention. In the world that demands attention to detail and logistics. The eternal child wants to nix all the rules and responsibilities and go beyond what others say is possible. It wants to return, with plenty of friends, to the land of the free, and where divine wine and creativity pour from the earth and sky. We all want to sip from the well of eternal youth, and this makes the eternal child naturally popular. Perhaps even famous. The eternal child glimmers. It reminds us of what is possible, what is magical about this precious life. This archetype is so spirited that when its appetite for life isn't satiated, it seeks spirits and substance elsewhere. The eternal child struggles with addictions of all varieties. Celebrity culture is based heavily on this archetype, as is the phrase, live hard, die young, and the series of artists and musicians who have died at 27. Oh, damn. When in light with this energy, you feel joyful, playful, and accepts all magic. When in dark, you feel addicted, selfish, adrift, and burnt out. To go deeper, Icarus, Peter Pan, and Rumi's Has Anyone Seen That Boy? If I can get that part to focus. I suggest looking into the go deeper parts here and just seeing what they could mean to you, because there's a lot of different things that they could mean to each of us personally. We're gonna get to the destroyer, the savage, the unexpected, the rejected. The destroyer has necessary yet painful work to do in the world. Culturally, we have an aversion to endings, and we hang on to permanence as a signifier of success. Yet the destroyer pulls the rug from underneath relationships, jobs, homes, and all forms of security. It is the part of us that wants things to end. Its painful orientation is to uncover our true purpose. The destroyer does not let things linger long in comforts, as it knows not much happens in that realm. With its piercing eyes, it seeks out stagnancy from a distance, and the rest becomes history. In the old myths, this is the moment when heads begin to roll, the ground opens up, and castles crumble, or towers. Hold on for the ride. The destroyer has arrived. Consider Picasso's statement: every act of creation is first of all an act of destruction. The old tales, the destroyer in the old tales, the destroyer sometimes appears as a black dog. Other times it takes forms of gods and goddesses such as Shiva, Kali, and Apophis. When in light with this energy, you feel swift and precise blows that redirect your life. When in dark, you feel self-destruction, negativity, unwillingness to rebuild. To go deeper, Robert Rauschenberg's erased deconing drawing. So this drawing it's talking about is one that some famous like drawer and artist made, and he erased. So the story I think goes is someone was given this drawing, and it was another artist that had erased another artist's drawing in this very like profound way, of the fact that like in the act of him destroying something, he essentially did create something new, but in a very like long roundabout way. Because if that's not really making sense to you, I feel like the aspect of the swift and precise blows that redirect your life, what I feel like that erased painting, or not painting, the erased drawing kind of really means is the fact that you can be the own giver and taker of your life. You can be the one to erase things that you feel are meaningless or maybe even meaningful in your life. And this energy, I feel like, is also represented in the fact that nothing in life is, I want to say, set in stone, or nothing in life will last forever. That's where the changes kind of comes into play here. You understand that change is needed, but at what cost is sometimes what we asked ourselves. And to be honest, a lot of it is at the cost of our own humanity. And I think you're done dealing with that kind of cost to life. You are tired of things costing people's humanity, in a sense. And I think the big, like, it's realizing that if you erase something now, you won't have this, like, saved as a memory. Or maybe the word did that wrong. You won't have it saved forever. You only have the memory of it. Sorry. Speaking intuitively sometimes doesn't create full sentences. I really want to get into the other oracle cards here before I continue on. We have number 15, the square. We're going to be square dancing. This is Earth, the male archetype, which is just divine masculine as well. The square represents earthly substance, matter, and security. This represents solid connection to bring your ideas out of the imaginary phase and into the realm of substance and manifestation. But when it's in reverse, the foundation of this, the foundation on which you have relied on, seems to be crumbling beneath your feet. The stability you have become accustomed to has been removed and you're feeling vulnerable. Act intentionally towards resolving the situation. This is a time to be proactive, not passive. That's the energy of the destroyer. It's proactive. It's not passive. It's not going to wait till you feel comfy, until you feel safe and cozy and in your bed to create these changes. They literally are going to pull the rug out from you. And this could be something you do to yourself and do to other people, to pull the rug out of illusion, deceit, and lies, and get them to see the truth for what it is, to see the truth of these lies and these illusions. And it's something that is very much needed in this time, because a lot of people struggle to even know what is real and what is not. We have the next card, Crossing Over, Transition. The geometry of this card expands beyond the flower of life and represents communication from beyond. I think this card is definitely you feeling the calling, that you are the creator of change. And that's okay, and we need people like that. And also to imagine the phrase of, if the whole world were engineers, who would be our farmers, who would be our doctors, who would be our scientists, our politicians, kind of a thing. Everyone has their place. their purpose, their thing that they do and they want to do and desire to be. And I think you do desire to be this destroyer of lies and illusion, to be the creator of something new again. All creation is first of all an act of destruction. So, as you stand at the crossroads between dimensions, bravely face your future, knowing that you are not alone, and not alone in feeling unsure about what's on the other side. It's okay if you don't know exactly what's going to be in the future, but doing this is such a strong call to your being. Creating this creative destruction in your life is such a big calling to you right now. You can't ignore it, I feel. And knowing you're not alone in that feeling, there are other people who have this energy as well. Knowing that you're not alone, but that you always have access to guidance and assistance. All you have to do is ask. The transition takes place in your life right now, will intimately affect those around you, and will chart your life's current direction. It may not be in your nature to ask for help, but that is the most appropriate action at this time. This is not a time to go it alone. You may decide to seek advice from a professional counselor or a teacher, or even in this tarot read. Sometimes you needed to be hit in the face with the information to let yourself really see what's going on. Your choice may be to consult your personal guides and angels or seek guidance from your higher self. The important point is choosing this card is that you accept that there are times where each of us requires assistance in moving through the inevitable challenges and transitions of this lifetime. The best way to describe this card now is you destroy the tower of lies, illusion, and deceit. You are the one that's pulling the rug of lies and deceit and showing people this is the rug you were standing on, this wasn't truthful, this was all an illusion. You're showing that, but you also need to point people in the direction of here are the gardeners that are going to build the flowers that are going to make you feel actually calm, and here are the builders and engineers that are going to rebuild this foundation from the ground up again. These are the people that are going to help you. There are creator and creative energies that need to team up with the destroyer energies, the ones that are going to shake people up, the ones that aren't afraid of confrontation, the ones who aren't afraid because they are so deeply integrated in the truth of it all that they cannot ignore what is happening here, especially on Earth. And I think for a lot of us, like destroyer energies and creator energies, you feel the energy of this Earth grid. The Earth grid is a very big belief that the, what's it called? The magnetic energies and all of the different electromagnetic energies of the Earth create a grid around the Earth, and different parts of the Earth have different, like, energy points. It is very, common belief that there is just, like, an aura to our planet, if we want to say it in a very simplified way. But this in the reversed energy, I'm just going to read the reversed energy really quick so we can get into the deeper parts that I'm getting for you. The reversed card says, or reversed side of this card says, you have taken to wandering in search of meaning. You may be wandering aimlessly, looking for a home, or your sacred path may be to connect to the grid points that will bring us all into resonance and fellowship. This is really realizing how your aspects and your, like, belief and your just powerhouse of a person, human being, character, personality, everything about you is so graciously needed. This energy is such a needed energy in this point in time. Whether you're watching this in 2025 or you're watching this years down the road, this energy is needed at all times. There are always going to be people who are going to lie about something, create illusions, create deceit, and seed deceit in things, and seed illusion in things, and there needs to be people in order to stop that. To stop this energy. And stop it in a way that cuts off that supply of power for them. And sometimes the supply of power for people who are creating lies and illusions is the power in making people feel weak, making people feel like they can't speak up, they can't speak out and say what they want to truly say without any sort of judgment. Sometimes people just want to speak their mind, whether you believe them or not. And I think you being conscious in speaking your mind has truly and creatively created actual compassion in the world. You are making room for compassion. And in order to make room for that, things got to be destroyed. Things got to be taken down. Things got to be washed to the side. And when we get into this deeper meaning of all of this is when we get into the tree of life. Many cultures around the planet hold trees in reverence. Most cultures native to forest or jungle environments have elaborate myths surrounding the powers of trees. Some even consider them gods or a means of traveling to the spirit world. Their names are various. Tree of knowledge, tree of perfection, the world tree. For Mayans, it was the raised up sky tree. From mystical Judaism, this card diagrams the tree of life called the Kabbalah. It is also in a lot of Hermetic belief as well. If you've seen this card before. Pulling this card suggests that you are in a process of self-actualization and growth. You are in a process of self-actualization and growth. And I think that's all I need to say for you in this card, but I want to say you may decide to research and learn more about the process of the Kabbalah and what it represents. And the important point here is exploration of self and spirit and movement towards wholeness. This is why self-care is here. While you are being the destroyer of things, you are taking on a big task and a big ask of the universe even. And whether you are just feeling called to do it or you just do it in your everyday life, you gotta give yourself some compassion too. You gotta make room for compassion for yourself as well, because that's where we lead to the calm within. And this reverse energy is chaotic energies are working around the subject of your inquiry. No progress can be made until you're able to calm down and observe the intuition from a fresh perspective. You may need additional protection to be able to handle the situation. Seek perspective and guidance from someone you trust. And I feel like that trust is going to be in any sort of crystals and rocks that you have, any people that you know can create things in this new space that you want to clear out. If you're going to clear something out, what's going to go in it? What are you going to create? What can other people create in this space that you want to create? And I think this is a big ask to really see how all of this has duality within. Every single part of you seeking this truthful path also has duality of you are protecting it the more that you follow in this very, what feels like destructive energy. You realize that the only way for the moon to illuminate this path is for the sun to be on the other side of the earth, shining its bright light towards it, and it reflecting it back. That light is so bright that it bounces off the moon and hits us on earth. But we call it the full moon's light. Is it really the full moon's light, or is it the light of the sun? The light of the sun in the darkest moment on earth. I think that's a big thing to really consider here. Seeing how the light of something that, when we get too close to the sun, that is a destructive energy, but at the right moment, at the right time, in the right fashion, in the most correct way for you, and for the moon and for the earth, it illuminates the darkness. It brings light to dark energies. And you understand these energies more than you could have ever understood them before, because they will always be there. You can only see the bright full moon and the light of the full moon when it's really dark. And you can only see the darkness of a shadow when it's really bright, or something casting a shadow, and the darkness of the cast of the shadow when something is casting light as well. So I think this is a big thing to really represent within yourself and see how you can find the calm within through all of this. The calm within is knowing that this is needed. Not just needed in like, oh yeah, there are going to be people who pat you on the shoulder and say this is needed. No, this is needed as you are the one to create the change. You are the creator of change through your acts of destruction. And that is the key. That is the key to all of this creative balance and duality of creation and destruction, and very careful balance to keep the internal child alive, to keep humanity alive within us all. And I love how the sun card is actually, or the sun is like in this card right here, like the actual like sun in that card. And I think you get everything that I've been putting down. I'm going to ask you to get up and get moving towards whatever you need. Whether you need a nice shower, a hot ass shower to go and be that destructive creator energy that you are. Take time for yourself. Give yourself what you need, and do not be afraid to explore any more things of what you need, because this is what's helping you at this current moment in time. And I thank you for letting me read your cards. That is all I have for you. And if anybody wants a private reading, just remember that you can subscribe to my Twitch, and if you go to the checkout page on my website after adding any sort of 3-card or 6-card reading to your cart, once you reach the checkout, it's going to ask if you are subscribed on Twitch and to connect to your Twitch account, and it will make the entire order free. So any 3-card or 6-card readings that you want can be free just with a simple Twitch subscription. So thank you for that. And also, I also do a bunch of charity things. So if you want to donate to charity and you provide me proof of donation, I can also provide free readings as well. But that is all on my website if you're interested. Thank you for listening, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye! Okay, you chose garnet. This is possibly one of my favorite stones for grounding myself into a lot of just courageous energy and things like that. It has a lot to do with prosperity, and it's very intricate sometimes because there's a lot of different garnets, and they kind of have a lot of different themes to them. So when we talk about just regular garnet, it carries this energy of prosperity and enjoyment of worldly pleasures. But sometimes when we really need to remember to enjoy the things that we have around us, we have this kind of courageous feeling with garnet that just kind of brings us back to, oh, this is why we really like this. This is why we chose to buy this thing, or why we really enjoy doing this one thing. It enhances a lot of truth, faith, and like, I want to say consistency, but constancy. It's like something that can be constant, and dispels melancholy feelings. This is really to broaden up your, I want to say, focus on how prosperity is even just playing out in your life, and gives you this creative, I want to say, imagination to manifest things in your 3D world. And I really want to get into more of what this could mean for you, because when we talk about compassion and just courage, it can mean a lot of different things, I feel, especially to different parts of our life. Sometimes being compassionate could either being just talking to yourself in a very kinder way, and finding ways to even find compassion in just different ways in your life. Not just compassion, but courage, and compassion to find courage. Find the capacity to get back into the things that like feel like quote unquote the old you. And I feel like when it comes to grounding a bit, it grounds you in your earthly possessions, the things that make you feel super, super prosperous, and you're able to kind of let go and release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin type feel. But in a way that's really you and makes you feel fully grounded into you and your sense of self. There's a lot of different things that garnet can help with, but really I feel like this sense of self is kind of coming out because the earthly and worldly possessions that we hold on to so deeply within us can range from a lot of different things. Okay, that is way too many cards. I'm just going to take that one. And if anything else is meant to come out, it will come out again. So let's get one more card here. We got the Hunter reversed. And we'll read the Oracle cards at the end. Hello. Okay, hello. We got the Mountain, the Hunter, and Apocalypsis. I believe that is a Greek deity as well. Apocalypsis. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of all of this. Hello, hold on. Sorry, some of these cards are a little... Get a nice little shuffle on them. And what does the manga tarot have for you? Clear, honest message for this new moon. Queen of Swords coming out the gate and Justice. Oh, I feel like wherever you haven't been direct in what makes you fully you, the earth, the universe, and definitely a lot of things around you are like, this is you. This is who you are to your core. This is who you really enjoy being. And this is who you truly want to, I want to say, fall in love with. This part of you that you really want to fall in love with. King of Swords. This could be another person that you may just want to fall in love with, but it feels like another person inside of you. This other part of you that truly makes you you at the end of the day. We'll flip this over. Oh my goodness. These cards are talking very quickly here. Hello. They want to say a lot to you. The World underneath the Two of Swords. We have Queen of Swords, Justice, Seven of Cups reversed here. Then we have King of Swords, Three of Cups reversed, and Three of Swords. So, a whole lot of no earth energy here. Where are you being grounded? Maybe that's the big sign that you just need some groundedness and feeling like you have this feeling of none of this is happening to me for any reason. And then there's parts of you are like, no, this is why these things are happening to me for every reason. And you kind of go back and forth on one or the other. And it's almost like it's so easy to be direct in a very serious way and be like, okay, let's just nut up or shut up and be super serious. But sometimes you genuinely need to give yourself cutthroat compassion. What I mean by that is talking to yourself in a way that actually gets you to sit with yourself on what makes you you. When we talk about the Seven of Cups, there's a lot of worldly possessions in here, and also a lot of lies and deceit and things that aren't for us. So to really look in this card and see what is for you takes a lot of compassion to open up to yourself. And I think the big part is that justice and universe are here to have you break yourself wide open. You are seeing yourself to the core of what and who you truly are and what makes you you, and the things that you choose to fulfill you in life. Seven of Cups isn't just about choices as well. It's also like what we choose to fulfill us. And I think you want to choose a lot of good stuff and not really these dragons or snakes or illusions per se. You want to choose yourself. You want to choose your home, your, I want to say, what's the word? I want to say success, but like the things that you desire. This laurel wreath here is usually kind of that worldly desire, like your career, what you want out of life type things. And that building usually is the structures that, the things that give you stability and structure in your life. And the cup that literally is just a human being. That is you and your soul and yourself, choosing yourself. And it's more than just choosing yourself, because I think the big thing you want to get past is, why can it be so easy to be so mean to yourself? Why can it be so easy to just stop yourself? Because if it was easy to choose yourself and to be yourself, everyone would be doing it. I think the big message here is, if it was easy, you would literally see everyone doing it. And sometimes you say, well, I do see everyone doing it. No, you don't. You see the facade that people like to play, especially on social media. They like to play that everything's all fine and dandy when everyone's going through shit in their lives to any sort of degree. And to remind yourself that this, I want to say, happiness that you could be striving for, this celebration, this connection, this community, is only getting hurt by the fact that you think that either you're undeserving of it, you haven't fixed yourself fully of it, or fully to get to that point, or that that is the end goal. Because the end goal isn't that. The end goal is community and, I want to say, camaraderie within yourself. This interconnected, like, I want to say this interconnected fulfillment you have of yourself and the way that you go out into the world and create things. And I think a lot of what you have done in the past has been in a moment of intuitive feelings and what feels like intuition. But I also want to say that, like, part of this is reminding you that when you feel like you are being pulled in two separate directions, oh, I can only choose this side or that side, I can only choose to be nice and super kind to myself, super positive, or be just super negative and emo all the time in a very silly way. But that's not the choice here. The choice is to go with, it's like both, and not in a way that you think. It's going to have to hurt to really get these, I want to say, thoughts of lack and hurt and pain out of your heart. It's going to be hard to choose the transformation. But that's kind of the point, because the more that you are processing these swords and getting these swords out of your heart, that is when you'll have room to actually heal. But I think the Three of Cups is really representing of your spirit guides calling into this healing path. I feel like part of you has had your back turned to a lot of synchronicities and signs lately, and really finding your way again is finding out what intuitively feels correct for you, even if it's being wholeheartedly honest with yourself and you don't like that honesty. The honesty is just to know what is. It is to understand the what, to understand the why. And that is just what it is. It doesn't mean you have to demonize yourself because you made a mistake or miscalculated or treated something with not the proper energy that you wanted to treat it with. To give out the proper energy you wanted to give out. Maybe there was something different, something wrong, something, like I said, miscalculated, misinformed. But you're the one who can choose what to do from now on. You're the one who has this choice. It's not an illusion. The illusion of choice here is feeling like you gotta pick different parts of yourself when the universe is just asking you to step into literally the aspect of this world card where things are constantly shifting and changing all the time. So it's hard to even say that there is one definite way to happiness in life. That's not life. The goal of life is to just find happiness. The goal of life is to find balance and duality and really discover where you can find balance in your own personal duality. You have a lot of you that's being very critical of yourself, and a lot of you that's just like, oh, can we get over it already? The more you give yourself compassion here and saying, oh, okay, instead of just getting over it already, this is just how I feel. And it's not to treat yourself with any more negativity of, oh, I'm just lazy and I can't get over this one thing. It's to treat yourself with the compassion of, okay, I know we're frustrated, but this is just how we feel, because you feel like you can't get past something. You shouldn't hurt yourself over that. It's just how you feel. And acknowledging that as a feeling and emotion can get you to see the actual truth of the situation, to get you to see the messages and signs and synchronicities that have been calling to you, and really, really see them for the in-depth message, to the core, to the root of you. We're not talking about the surface level and the little blades of grass on the top of the ground. I'm talking about the roots that make up the blades of grass, the soil underneath those roots of blades of grass, like everything in depth. And this is a big ask of you, because I don't think you've ever really had this in depth of a conversation with yourself, but that's okay. You can learn how to. Giving yourself that compassion to not be mean to yourself reminds you that you're just trying like everyone else is. I love the little kind of clever detail in this card. There are birds right there, and it's kind of reminding you to not look at the brutality of the sword, but to look at it in the sense of seeing the reflection that shines back, seeing the you. And it's not in a way of you're this and you're that. You are you. At the end of the day, you are yourself. This is you, this is how you feel, this is how you function, this is how you have been formed, reformed, rebirthed, and grown into this person you are today in this moment, in this time. And the big new moon ask for you is to completely forget everything you once thought of about kind self-talk. Being kind and being all positive is kind of a big catch-22 sometimes. Like, I personally, in my opinion, you can disagree with me, but I do not like hanging around people who are constantly saying, we only have positive vibes here, positive vibes only, and they're very strict on it, that they do not allow anything negative to be talked about, like what's happening in the world sometimes, and a lot of just things going on like all across the world. It's like, oh, let's not talk about negative things, but it's not negative to talk about things that may feel like a negative feeling. It's just being honest. The true people that say positive vibes only are the true people who recognize that the only way to feel positive is to feel like you can express and acknowledge any negative energies that lie within. Because when you acknowledge and you express these things, you release them, and then you make room for more positive energy. So instead of shoving the positive energy in our face in order to shove the negative energy down and bury it deep within our soul, we're actually expressing, acknowledging, accepting, and releasing this energy. And that's the key to all of this right now. So I want to get into the oracle cards. We're going to get into some sacred geometry cards here. Whatever seems to come out, I want to come out. We did at most 4, but I think we're going to do 2 today. You have High Tide and the Fruit of Life in reverse here. And we're going to put these cards like that, like so. And then you have Invitation. And I love the little like angel and angelic like figures that are like here on this card. I think this is an invitation to experiencing your own wisdom that you have gained for probably a while now. And this isn't something that has been light information that you've been gaining or awakening to or been enlightened about. This is information that is deep to your core. How can you express yourself to where you are creating change at the core level of you that will change you in order to choose what fulfills you, to choose yourself, choose what makes you stable, choose what makes you feel successful and fulfilled in life. And I think the biggest key here, I took one of the top cards. Oh my goodness. We have slow but steady. Slow but steady transformation. There is no exact time frame that you need to have for the situation. There is no perfect moment for you, I want to say. Also, technically, this was a card I pulled. This is the bottom of the deck here. Honoring your energy. Slow but steady transformation. Just the sentences being played out here. To honoring your energy. We are gonna start, because these cards are very self-explanatory. I don't need to explain these cards, but we're gonna get into these cards. This is the Archetypes Oracle deck that I just love with all my heart. And let's get into the Hunter, the Seeker, the Pursuer, the Predator. The hunter hunts. They are on a precise mission with an aim. To return home empty-handed would be to fail, which is not an option in the hunter's eye. This archetype will journey far and wide, seeking the prize that calls to its heart, or stomach. Tales of bravery and feats of strength often result, creating a life full of adventure. The hunter is skillful, quick, decisive, and results-oriented. Like the great hunting goddess Artemis, who carries her quiver upon her back, the hunter typically has a weapon of choice. When this card appears, it is critical that you ask 3 questions. What am I hunting? Why am I hunting it? Is the weapon I hold so tightly in my grip truly needed for the task at hand? Study the Greek goddess Artemis. Notice her nuanced relationship to the moon. The moon is also in this Two of Swords card. The moon, the earth, the feminine. The predator honors its prey with a precise and skillful hunt. The hunter deeply reveres the life it aims to take. When you activate the hunter archetype, you are aligning your energy with the great creatures of the world, the lion, the wolf, the tiger, the shark. Do so with care. And when you feel in light with this energy, you feel focused, energized, respectful, and seasoned. When you feel in dark, you feel irresponsible, violates, violent, and or poaching. And to go deeper, look at the Wounded Deer painting by Frida Kahlo. Or Kahlo. I forget. Goofy me. Let's get into Apocalypsis. Removing the veil of deception. Apocalypsis indicates a particular painful time, one that unfolds when 2 disparate, like separate, I'm words, now I'm like forgetting. When 2 disparate, or like 2 separate dynamics occur simultaneously. So apocalypsis indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when 2 separate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is lifting the veil. This means truths that have been kept in the dark, revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how revealing it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. The old narrative breaks and a new story forms. Apocalypsis energy is similar to a forest's fire, devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding. From the nakedness of the truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. All kinds of things will be revealed during a time of apocalypsis, from big global lies to little white ones that lace the bedroom sheets. Ooh. Brace yourself for the horse of truth to storm your every field. I'm gonna leave you with that. Let's get into the Mountain. Another one of my favorite cards because it represents the truth of yourself and really exploring that mountain of truth. The mountain, the ascent, the peak, the insurmountable. The mountain stands eternally in our awareness, calling us towards its peak. It stirs up stoic and regal feelings, reminding us of the long line of spirits, sages, sadhus, and gods that made their humble thrones within its snowy peaks. Beware, though, as the mountain can affect us in 2 ways. It can inspire and enliven us to rise to new heights and peak experience. Yet, it can also create isolation, competitiveness, an inflated sense of self. I see this aspect of the mountain card as how people will go to Mount Everest, to climb Mount Everest as like an ego trip. Like, people climb Mount Everest to be like, this is a very difficult thing to do, and I want to try and challenge myself to reach a new height, a new personal goal. And then some people are like, I just want to climb a mountain. See, I did this. I am this. I am that. That creates the isolation, the competitiveness, the inflated sense of self here. Standing upon its heights can activate the pursuit and the perfectionist in us, creating separation from those we deem to be quote unquote below. No matter how high you ascend, remember that it is within the core of the mountain that the gems, minerals, and jewels reside. If you think it's all about going up, you're following the fool's path and missing the miner's magic. When in light with this energy, you feel grounded to the internal, steadfast and uplifting. When in dark, you feel ominous, daunting, and isolating and frigid. I think part of you is feeling daunting feelings of accepting yourself. And I think the big thing is if you don't accept yourself now, you're gonna constantly keep having to relearn how to accept the self. That's a big ask here for you. Research mountains. Find one that strikes you and stare at it for a while. Where is it? The pilgrim may be awakening in you. The summit calls. Contemplate Joseph Campbell's suggestion. You are the central mountain, and the central mountain is everywhere. I like that. So, I'm going to move on because I feel like all of this is synchronistically leading up to a lot of just removing that veil of illusion and deceit that I feel like the world and life and society can put on us, and even just different parts of our family and our like experiences in life can actually set us on a different path that we feel intuitively we shouldn't be on. We should be on a path of something else, on something more compassionate, something maybe with a little higher of a tide. Here we have the card High Tide, Dynamic Action. This card is filled with golden spirals. It depicts the energy of experiencing nature at a particular dynamic and exciting moment. The incredible forces of nature are constant companions. The incredible forces of nature are our constant companions, both externally as the wind, tide, and storm, and internally as emotional upheaval and calm. You are asked to become aware of reality of dynamic forces working in your life. You are not powerless in the face of events. You need not wait for the winds of fate to blow on you to the next phase of your life. Learn to utilize the spiral vortices and volcanic eruptions that are part of your emotional experience. By using your intuition and intention, learn to harness the power to aid you in action towards your dreams and life goals. There are times for quiet contemplation, and then there are times for action. Listen carefully to your emotional body and its response to decisions you are making, or to those that seem thrust upon you. If it feels right, it probably is. If not, use your ability to avert disaster and leave or refuse to take part in that event. Above all, trust yourself. Trust in the tide of your own soul. Trust in the ebb and flow of your own energy. I think this is where the fruit of life really comes into play. The fruit of life also depicts the flower of life, but the fruit of life is all about abundance, and it does say down here there is no reverse aspect of this card. Abundance is always available. So even though it shows up reversed, I think it's also to remind you that even if it is reversed, it can still mean something good. Even something if it feels flipped on its head, completely bonkers, but it feels right to you, that could be the way. That could be the intuitive way for you. This card takes a step beyond the flower of life by removing 2 circles around the flower of life and adding another full rotation. We find a design that holds within a pattern of 13 circles known as the fruit of life. These changes to the design have unveiled another layer of wisdom. This pattern holds complex information systems and considered a female gateway, divine feminine, no gender here. Pulling this card suggests that by the fruit of your labor and intentions, abundance has entered or is about to enter your life. Or in this case, you can be the bringer of abundance through acceptance and transformation. Through slow but steady transformation and honoring your energy here, you can bring in this abundance of positive energy. Abundance comes in many forms, and you are cautioned not to get caught up in thinking the only abundance is of the monetary kind. True, as you find your life's paths, the rewards will flow easily in the areas of finances. Difficult times will fade, and you will Have not only plenty of your own needs, but enough to offer gifts to those in less fortunate circumstances. The maxiom, as you give, so you shall receive, is absolutely true from the standpoint of your current situation. Everything that you've been giving to the situation, positive or negative, is directly resulting the outcome of the situation. If you are feeding negativity into something and you find yourself you're only getting negativity out of it, reinforce that thought of your intentions create your reality. Your belief of you're this, you're that, well, shit, you'll always be this and that. But if you treat yourself with kindness and compassion and say, okay, I know this is hard, but we're trying our best, that's when you really seed compassion. You're trying your best to figure yourself out, but also you got to try your best to do things, to be decisive, to create decisive action. I think the big part about this is decisive action. As you give, so you shall receive. There are also many other types of abundance: beauty, love, friendship, hope, and growth, to name but a few. In all things abundant, there exists a nourishment that feeds your needs and asks you to go beyond yourself and share with others. Is your garden producing more than you require? Do you finally have the time to spend with loved ones? The message is one of unselfish sharing. Sharing your abundance is spreading light. And sharing negativity is also seeding darkness and deceit and illusion. And now continuing on to what I think is one of my favorite cards, because it just looks so cool in all of its geometry, is the invitation. This is you being able to invite yourself into this energy, to invite healing into things that you feel like couldn't have ever been healed before. Invitation, other dimensions. Lightworkers everywhere are exploring and adventuring into realms of energy, light, and vibration. Appearing as grids or matrices of light, geometric vibrational fields connect everything in existence, from the infinitesimal to the infinite. Everything vibrates to divine order. Even chaos theory makes sense when seen as a part of oneness with spirit. This card represents a doorway, a portal, or stargate, per se. Within this vision, you may travel to other dimensions of time and space, places that may not even exist in third-dimensional reality. Giving yourself permission to explore is the first step. A deep connection with spirit and the ability to ground yourself solidly is the next essential measure. Gathering your courage to leave the security of the known venture is the fourth. Gathering courage to leave the security of the known venture forth is the third. And this card also depicts two guardian figures who will act as guides and protect you on your journey. Go forward and experience the wonders of all that is. That's where you truly connect with yourself, because the Three of Cups also I see as a me, myself, and I energy. This is me, myself, and I trying to find fulfillment in parts that we feel like we're lacking fulfillment in. Usually the Three of Cups shows that everyone's kind of feeding their energy into each one of the cups, and it's an infinite flow of, okay, I'm going to give energy here because I have a little more to give from one side of yourself to another side of yourself, and once that is filled up, it's like, okay, now I have energy to give to this other part of myself, and constantly fulfilling and fueling these different energies. It's getting you to explore and experience and go forward in all that is, all that you wonder could be about yourself and your future, and even just like the character and personality. All of this is through very slow but steady change. And I think you are willing to explore this more in your own heart, but you got to be the one to give yourself very intuitive and decisive action. I really want to read the Two of Wands from the manga tarot, because it feels, not Two of Wands, Two of Swords here. It feels just correct right now. And I think the big part about the Two of Swords is how, while it talks about ignoring a problem, refusing to accept the facts, and lying to yourself, it's in a way that we think we know what we're doing in something. We think we know the actual decisive action, but sometimes the decisive action isn't about choosing one or the other. It could just be about choosing both. Choosing both or choosing neither and moving into something brand new. And I think this is the big thing that is what is being shed, is the fact that you have to choose one or the other. The Two of Swords always talks about that you are facing a decision and you know which is the right choice. And there is a quote-unquote right choice in the situation. However, you are unwilling to let go of the other option, perhaps out of fear or maybe because you simply would prefer the other. Also, your emotions are interfering. Sometimes leading with the heart is best, but this time there is a logical reason. You know you have to choose it no matter how much you want the other. No matter how much you want to just choose how easy it is to be negative to yourself. If everyone thought it was easy to be kind to themselves and give themselves a sense of acknowledgement and acceptance, everyone would be doing it. But even with this big boom of spirituality that happened in 2020, early just 2020 and so on, there's been a lot of people that truly don't even accept a lot of things, even when they can, even when they have a lot of spiritual things going on in their lives. They could see the synchronicities and choose to ignore them. That's a part of life. This is the choice that we kind of have in life. But sometimes in this reverse energy, you already know what's really for you. And you just really need to let go of let go of actually expecting more from yourself. You gotta go with what is the actual logical right choice here, what is truly correct in the situation. You can't convince yourself 2 + 2 = blue anymore. 2 + 2 = motherfucking 4, and you better get with the program or get back to that lesson that you gotta relearn over and over and over again. And I can't say it more bluntly than that. And I don't want to leave you off with that, because what I want to leave you off on is these cards specifically right here. Slow but steady. Transformation. And all of this is because slow but steady honors your energy, honors you and what you are actually capable and have the capacity of learning, accepting, and processing and emotionally releasing at the end of the day. You can do this. But you can't do it at the same pace like everyone else can. You do it at your own damn pace, and I'm gonna fight anyone else who is gonna say otherwise. But the whole point is you choose the correct logical reasoning here. You choosing the correct thing that you know is the right thing to do is not just the correct option, but it's going to be done at your own pace. You don't need to do it at anyone else's pace but your own, but it needs to be done. It can't just be, well, I'll maybe kind of get to it tomorrow, because I did like 5 minutes of effort today, and then I guess we'll do a little bit tomorrow, and then you just end up forgetting about tomorrow, and you're like, well, that's okay, we tried. Continue to do. The next part of trying your best is try your best to actually do. Do this acceptance, do this choice that you know is the logical, reasonable, right choice, because I think it's going to open you up to yourself and your true nature of your own soul more than you could have ever cracked yourself open ever before. And I think that is the crucial message here, very crucial message of really lifting this veil, because the veil is being lifted, and if you choose to accept the information you see on the other end, that's going to benefit you. If you choose to ignore it, well, I guess it's going to come around full circle again, because this is what these energies are really describing, is the fact that you are ignoring this acceptance of self. Don't ignore yourself, please. It's not time for that, not right now, and I think you know it. And I think you really have a lot more strength than you give yourself credit, and a lot more compassion for yourself than you give yourself credit, because you think it's easy just to be mean. And just be like, oh, well, I'm this and that because of me being lazy or whatever, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, maybe you just have a hard time because of X, Y, and Z traumas or X, Y, and Z experiences. And that's fine. But as long as you continue to do the right thing that is correct and logical for you in the moment, intuitively in the moment, because you know intuitively what is also best for you, I believe intuition and logic can also play hand in hand. You are accepting this energy. You wholeheartedly are accepting this energy. And I think I need you to really truly accept it for yourself. What is your weapon of choice? Why do you have this weapon of choice? And does the weapon of choice need to be held on so tightly to commit to the task at hand? And is it truly needed for the task at hand? Maybe in different degrees and different moderations, different levels, different limits, but it's all intuitively towards your situation. And all of it is to honor your energy, honor yourself, honor the troubles and the struggles that you have had to face, because these are the things that are going to grow you and not tear you down. I think I'm going to leave you with that, because you got a lot of growth here, and I really, really just wish I could give you a hug and just tell you that you're great and you are kind and you can do it, because this is so important for you to really, really, truly, crucially understand. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me read your cards. If anyone wants any personal private readings, check them out on my website, and go subscribe to my Twitch if you want some free readings on my website. They will automatically apply to checkout. Once you get to the checkout page, it will ask you about the Twitch stuff, and then you can connect your Twitch and you can get a free reading from me. So you can subscribe even when I'm not streaming, so it's totally fine. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate you listening all the way through, and I will see you in the next one.